Welcome to the Late Sesh.
Welcome to Late Sesh.
I am Skillbo One, as always, joined by Red Setter Farm. As you can hear in the background, Red's got the little snippy long stockings going. He's trying to get a joint together. It's 11:01 p.m. in the evening. We'll see if he can be lit by 11:21. And I hope that you are able to grind something up with us and get down, maybe stay for some laughs and maybe learn something or else. I don't know. Other than that, cheers, everybody. Red?
What's going on, Q, as always. Sorry, my dog's already got to go outside. I apologize, guys. Before he yelps and barks, I'll do my intro as soon as he gets back. Else I might be loud on you guys.
Oh, DOG.
He's got his timing just down, man. I don't get it.
He knows what's up.
That's Red's dog.
That is Red's dog, DOG. He's an old timer. And they have a love relationship. Sometimes you would think it's a love-hate, but that is Red's dude of dudes. So, speaking of which, I hope that everybody out there has some kind of pet or something to chill with and get some of those Mondays off on. I just literally fucking got home from work and I'm ready to smoke. So right now I have ground up a little bit of the Sequences Citro Glue because I'm not fucking around. I want to get this. Glue? I give you credit for that, bro. I grew it. You gave me the cut. So it's the sequence cut of the Citro Glue.
See, I like that better, though. It gives you credit for growing it. I think that's the most important part.
Whatever it may be, I love this shit for the end of the night as well as the first thing in the morning. You know, sometimes I wake up, I've got a destroyed neck and a destroyed back. My C1, C2, C3, C4, L3, L4, L4, L5 are all fucking crushed. I'm a veteran. So that's why I use cannabis. And sometimes the Citro Glue is really, really nice because it actually stones me to the point where I can be like relaxed enough to get my day going on the right foot. You know, sometimes if I grab some other shit, like let's say that I grab the Silver Squirrel Farm, shout out, brother, the Keweenaw Copper, if I take that for a wake and bake, I'm gonna be out like a light. Be sleeping by 7:30. So hopefully you are smoking along with us and you have something that is helping you do the Calgon Take Me Away game. For Sequence, that's the CalMag Take Me Away.
Say Mac 1 will put you down like that. It's really indica buzz for sure.
Red.
No, I'm just listening.
I broke my carb cap right before your guys' show went live. So
How did you fucking break a carb cap, man?
Actually, this is a good story. So I've dropped this cap before. When I redid my floor, I did hardwood, and it has the foam underlayment, right?
Yeah.
So when you drop shit on the floor, it doesn't break. It's very nice. I've dropped this cap on the floor, and it has not broken. But I was previously bragging about my nice beaker bong that I can leave on the floor and bump into with my chair and stuff, and it won't tip over. So I dropped my bubble cap on my beaker bong, and the glass from the bong is definitely strong enough to shatter the bubble cap. So
that's rough, brother.
Rest in peace to the cap. The bong, though, is safe.
Rip in peace.
That's a risk, right? Because they're both probably about equally strong. So it's a scary thing when you drop one onto the other one. So
right.
I did not break an empty dab jar. I broke what's called a marshmallow cap, dab carb cap.
Can you describe what a marshmallow cap is for people at home?
I can pull one up probably.
Right on. Let's do a share screen. This feels all like fucking, what is it, Power Rangers shit? Yeah, man.
They want to be educated, Scobo.
Some Mighty Morphin.
I got in chat, I think it was Young Rio. So what are we learning tonight? They want education. What are we teaching tonight, Scobo?
It's going to be up to Red Setter Farm. Red said that he wanted to talk about his outdoor farm. So to me, that sounds like we're going to push it his way, and we're going to talk about that. Now, apparently, Red, to his credit, claims that he has had topics for 3 weeks that he has not gotten to yet. So it's going to be exciting to see.
I didn't write anything down, so I got 3 weeks of topics that I have to pull back from 3 weeks ago. Let's see if that works. I don't know what happens, right? I know what I did a week ago. I know what I did. I don't know what I did yesterday. We'll figure it out. We'll get there eventually. Dude, I'm stocked up on, I don't even know. Anyways, Red Setter Farm. You can find me on Instagram at Red Setter Farm. I got all kinds of topics to roll through right now. I'm fighting through what's going on between Levi's. I want to talk about textiles and stuff, man. I love natural textiles. I think silk.
So you asked for it, Scobo. Now you're talking about jeans, dude.
You never know where the late session is going to go.
DOG wants in, so
hopefully we will get to the point
real fast
where we can talk about some aliens at some point in the conversation.
Well, Red's letting the dog in. Here's the marshmallow cap that I broke. This is 2.
That's upside down, right?
These are upside down, but mine is in several pieces. Real sad.
So walk me through it. So you took a big rip and you went to pull the cap off, and she 86.
Honestly, so my guess is that I need to buy one of these stands right here.
Or know somebody with a 3D printer and get down there.
Yeah, exactly. These are 3D printed by Disorderly Conduction, this company right here. Disorderly Conduction. Very good. I like their products. Their e-nail is what I use. I'll be shopping around. I don't want to shop around and pull a red. And
man.
I'll find one of these caps. I'm going to order one. That's for sure. I need another one. I really liked the cap. I will buy another one. I think they're not $63. This is for 2.
Do you think that it's helping you with the flavor or for the smoothness of the effect, the drag on it?
The giantness of this radius right here matches really well with almost every size of banger.
Okay.
So
I've never used one like that. That's why it's kind of dope to me.
You get like the 25 to 30 millimeter range here, and it can probably go even more.
Which is like 1 inch, right?
It's 2.54 centimeters per inch.
My dude doesn't know the metric system.
That's just over an inch. I know the metric system. That's pretty good, right?
Okay, that's pretty good. That's good enough. Our Canadian friends have not scoffed at us yet.
I mean, I went to public school.
Well, that's not a fucking blessing in disguise.
I know my shit. I went to public school.
Dude, I went to public school in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, so I can't talk shit, man. I'm surprised they didn't teach us Latin back then, or we would ride pterodactyls instead of school buses to school.
Pterodactyls, dude.
Red Set Farm.
Back in the Catholic ladies hitting you in the
No, I'm a heathen. I'm a heathen, brother.
Oh, perfect. Me too.
Public school, man. For what it's worth. I just want to say cheers to everybody out there that is chilling with us right now. I see a lot of familiar names, and I hope that you are having a great night.
I want to shout out Raptor Grows in chat, man. He and Smash Cannabis, they had to slightly correct me last night. I was giving Fumador a big shout out for inviting me on his show. I was on Fumador's show. Fumador actually didn't invite me.
You just kind of crashed it? Dude, Fumador's cool as fuck, man. I like
Fumador always invites me, but it was Smash and Raptor specifically.
Right on.
Smash shouted me out and said, "Hey, man, I invited you on the show." So I got to shout out Smash and Raptor for inviting me up on that show. They hollered at me today and always enjoy me on. So I'll probably pop on there every so often. Check out Fumador. Awesome dude. He's on Embracing Organics. They go live on Thursday nights.
I'm going to take a second to do a PSA right there. Is that whatever else, guys, we are all in this thing together. Whether you are a content creator or whether you are a content consumer, we're all just growers, man. And
I just consume glass, Scobo. What about that?
Bro, it's all good. It's a can of fucking fam. Okay. So what I'm saying is that all of these different shows, make sure if you check them out and you dig them, that you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to them, man. Because a lot of us are really basically singing from the same sheet of music. We may just be hitting a different verse or a different tone for it. And it's just a matter of who you like listening to or who breaks it down in a particular way. And it may not always be, this show. Sometimes it may be that show. Sometimes it may be the other show. But never, ever forget, guys, that what brought me specifically, I will speak specifically for me, what brought me to the point of sitting in this chair and rambling fucking 6 hours a week to you guys is my love for all of the live streams and all of the content creators that came before me. So I want to talk about GrowTube Roundtable. I want to talk about watching, shout out to fellow Michigan growers and dank creators, MedGrower 1 and 2 for Growly, and also to watching Mr. Tight and all of these other people, Medically Fit. I used to watch High Grow Hybrid all the time. All of these people that came before me, are where I came up with some of my cockamamie ideas for cannabis and everything else. And so I'm just trying to pass it on, man. And I hope that somebody that is in this chat or that's listening to this right now is going to pass it on as well. And on that note, I see Jack Greenstock in the chat, and Jack is all about this life as well. So I'm going to shut the fuck up, throw this over to Red. But I just want to say growers love to everybody. And let's just keep this fucking Canna family rolling, man.
I'm
hard to follow.
Where I was going with
I'm
that.
just kind of going all over the fucking place.
No, well, I want to give a shout out to Eagle Gardens because he's on the late time zone as well, and I believe I believe on one of his most recent episodes he was giving us a little shout out. He even he went to the extent of bumping his Monday night shows back to
which is rad. You know what I mean?
To keep our time slot open. So shout out to Eagle for doing that, and I want to make sure that when our show ends, everybody who's still
over there, go check him out,
over
man.
to Eagle's show, and check him out, man.
Because a lot of
talking
his
shit with Eagle Gardens,
a lot of Eagle's guests happen to come from the chats, man. So it's been cool for me to be able to check out the content because I get to hear your story. And you're not just a name in chat, you know what I mean, bringing up good points of view, but I get to hear how you came to cannabis and everything else. And to me, that's rad, man. So, like I said, man, we're 12 minutes into this thing, and I'm throwing fucking mad love everywhere for everybody, but that's the kind of show it is. And I want to basically throw it to Red right now because I'll tell you something, guys. I've known Red for over a year now. The more I get to know this dude, the more I just dig him. He's not only like funny as fuck and talks about cool shit, and he doesn't just have a love for
me over here. You're talking about me.
Talking to me
next to you. This guy right here.
Yeah,
I'm not sitting next to you. I'm sitting probably about 40, 50 miles from you.
But something like that, probably an hour and a half. It's good. It's all within the mitten, baby. But you know, I know that Red is what makes this show funny. And I love his stories, but at the same time, Red has taught me a shit ton as a grower. So to me, it's like a win-win-win thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what it comes down to. Is tonight's message is going to be to go against the grain. Don't just stay to yourself, but meet somebody cool, man. And yeah, see, like Light It Up Again, Tim, Skilbo, less egos, more love, a bunch of hippies. Yeah, man. Because I'm not conceited. Because I know I'm a shitbag grower. I'm not worried about it. I grow my own medicine. I'm good. And I like trying different shit. And I love learning new ways where I can be successful. I was talking about before the show started.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, man. Before the show started, I was telling Sequence. I said, man, my flower room's looking so good. I'm not sure what day I'm on. I'm not all anal retentive, but I got it written down on the whiteboard in there. But let's call it 2 weeks plus, right? So I have some of Eagle Gardens Winnie in there, and some of Eagle Gardens Blueberry Quintessa in there. And I have some of Doc Dankenstein's Oreos, some of Doc Dankenstein's Wedding Punch. And I have some of Drogue Grow's Blue Gelato. And I have Spartan Grown's Headlights. You see what I'm saying? I really shouldn't have to follow that up. This is people sharing the love, sharing the genetics, sharing the medicine, sharing the plants. Like, this shit gets me jabbed up, man. I get excited on this. Thank you, High and Tight. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Keizu. So, you know, it's easy to get sucked into the same old, run after run, grow after grow. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to show respect for people. I want to say thanks to people. And I feel like that's what the plant is all about. So I'm going to shut the fuck up for a minute. What's up, Tao? Appreciate it, brother.
That it, Scoba?
That's it, man. You can take it away, baby.
I'm just letting you roll, man.
I got carried away on the growers love thing.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
I'm old, people. I'm old. Yeah, man. It's easy for me to be humble. It's easy for me to be humble with people. It's easy for me to say, thank you for teaching me this. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you for pointing out this. Thank you for sharing that. it's easy, man. I'm not in competition.
A lot of things to go out there, man.
I'm not in competition with Sequence. I'm not in competition with Red Setter Farm. I'm not in competition with Abolished Farms. I'm not in competition with any of you guys at all. I don't give a shit. I just want to grow the best pot that I can.
It's an abundance mentality. It's the only way that I can put it. I mean, you could call it karma. You could call it a bunch of different things. You could call it laws of attraction.
It's the late sesh. You call it what it is.
You could call it a lot of different. But what it is you're building a network. You're building a community. We're building an abundance of information. We're in return gaining an abundance of respect, followers, information. We're getting and giving. We're giving and getting as equal as possible.
Reciprocity.
I've been asked, don't you want to get paid for the information that you give? Yeah.
Who says I don't?
Capital is capital is subjective. It shouldn't be subjective, but it's really subjective. I mean, capital can be of so many things. Capital can be equity or sweat equity. Capital can be you don't have to just have a dollar attached to the equity. Equity can be the tools that you have, the skills that you have. Equity can be your happiness. Equity can be, or not equity, I'm sorry, capital. Capital can be your skills. Capital can be your tools. Capital can be your supplies. Capital can be your knowledge. There's all
it's whatever you value. It's something that has value to you. It's to trade time for value. It's trim season, guys. So let me just break this down to you for real quick. Okay, so I have multiple players of really sharp scissors, and I do a half-ass decent job. So I know that somebody on the crew is going to get hold of me and be like, "Yo, Skillboard, can you come through, man? Let's fucking, can you trim for me?" Yeah, sure, because I know that we're going to smoke really good fucking cannabis, and we're going to have a lot of laughs while we do this trimmage. But if you think for 1 second that I want to leave there with a dollar bill or some monetary fucking dollar bills, you're fucking crazy, man. That's not what I'm in it for. And it's really not in it for the, hey, man, they're going to drop a quarter or a half or a fucking onion on me. It's not about that either. It's about hanging out with my dudes. It's about having some laughs. It's about being able to appreciate a different plant that I'm not growing and maybe being able to pick up on, hey, man, how did you fucking grow this thing? What the fuck is the story on this thing? What is this plant? Let's check it out. So to me, I feel like I'm getting value in the experience side of things rather than whether it be monetary or smoke or whatever. But these cats are not going to let old Skillbo leave with nothing in his back pocket so that I can fucking talk about it 3 months later when I haven't smoked at all because I've just rationed that little shit out. There you go, Red. Back to you, baby.
I'm sorry, man. I was reading chat again. I lost my train where I was going with the whole capital thing. I apologize. Dennis Cartes in chat. I apologize, man. I don't take cuts in-house. I don't really have a quarantine space to do anything. So until I really have one of those, everything I have is from seed. I took on some cuts many years ago that I started with. And then I've taken on a couple other cuts through the only other person be my best friend. Get into talking a little bit more about that in a little bit after we get through this section of the show. But otherwise, I don't really bring on cuts, man. It's just I don't want to say that you have dirty cuts. I don't want to say I don't trust you, but I honestly haven't taken any cuts from anybody in our group.
Well, I've taken cuts from everybody in the damn group, and I'm at the point where I have to thin things down, and I still have to pop some Blue Dream and some Blueberry Sunset. So I'm going to have to pass for right now. But I do want to cover, there is a statement by Hyatt Tight. Cheers. It says, I still get anxious asking for help or advice, especially having fellow growers try our flower. With this community, you've all helped me open up and help control my anxieties. Appreciate y'all. Well, first of all, we have chilled with Frank and Brittany several times, and Chris as well. And we really do feel like they are part of our, for lack of a better term, family on this thing. And it is hard to open yourself up because you can have some anxiety beforehand. But it's not about who has the best smoke or who has the most photogenic pot or who has the most name brand shit. It's about like a potluck dinner. You know what I mean? You bring a dish to pass, you bring a jar to pass. And maybe that will compel me to not slack off and make sure that I fucking do all of my different treatments and regimens and whatnotery to make sure that the plant turns out well. Could be a win-win situation. But I know that everybody that is listening to this knows somebody else who smokes. And maybe you're lucky enough to know somebody who grows and you grow yourself, where you can put your shit to them and they can put it back to you. Don't look at it as who's better. Look at it as in what does the plant compel you to do? Because to me, the plant compels me to share. It doesn't compel me to be greedy with it and be like, no, it's all mine. No, man. That's how you get to learn, is because by being bountiful with your own, a lot of times you'll find people that are on the same wavelength as you, and they'll be bountiful back with you. And that's how you find out, holy shit, I really like this smoke because it gets me high, or because it's medicine, or because I just dig this shit. And now you can swap cuts, or you can buy the same pack as somebody if you're kind of anal retentive about that sort of thing. But it gives you a direction on what cannabis can be for you. So I am playing the part of Red Setter Farm tonight and being chatty Cathy. Red's over there, kind of floored, reading chat. I'm going to toss it back to him one more time. And let's see if he's caught up with me.
I'm just giving you I don't want to cut you off, man. You just, I start rolling and you seem to have it. So take it away. You got that. I don't know where to follow you up with those. I have a whole list of topics in my head. So like, I'm just trying to keep up with you with it. That's all. So I want you to keep rolling with where you're going, because I don't want to sidetrack it.
People got the point of it.
I'll start talking about Levi's and hemp, and
let's talk about Levi's
going right now.
Leave.
Yeah, because Oh, I was talking in chat earlier, man. I got to get a pair of Levi's. I got to get my homie over at New Standard a shout out. Trying to fire this thing back up. I'm trying to get back on track.
I did say 21 minutes, guys, didn't I? Did you get that lit yet?
Yeah, it's a very good point, Skilbo.
No, it's almost gone.
I said 21.
I'm relighting it.
It's almost gone, he said.
It's almost gone. I've been smoking it since the beginning of the show. I've been smoking for 23 minutes now. Actually, I was rolling it at the very beginning of the show. It only takes me all my time is chopping it up. I spend all my time grinding it up. Rolling it takes me a second. I sit there and I get it real
you need one of Tommy's grinders, Red.
Yeah, grinders aren't personal. They're not as personal as I like to get with my cannabis.
No, it's kind of like
really
Tommy's grinders, especially
touch every little single piece.
Shout out to Tommy Trichomes. That's the ice cream man, right?
No, there was an old fable that Levi's first pair of denims, that the first pair of denims were made from hemp. It is an old fable. It was actually cotton, unfortunately, to the community. But Levi's is an awesome American company. Oh shit! I almost flew my ashtray off, and then in doing so, I tried catching it with the hand that was holding my coffee, and it was hooked in the thing, and I almost really made a mess. Okay, anyway, everything was saved. Last year, Levi's actually did create a way to I already forgot the word for it. Something the hemp, cottonize. That's it. That you can cottonize the hemp. So if you've ever worn anything hemp, if you've been hippy dippy enough to wear a hemp shirt or a hemp hat.
Do you own one, Red? Really just answer that, man. Do you own one?
I really don't own anything. No, I don't own any hemp. Dude,
maybe a bag.
I'm sure I own hemp. I'm sure I own hemp blended material, probably pullovers or something like that. I don't want to say that I don't, because it might have hemp in it. So anyways, I'm sure I have tapestries or some other shit that's got hemp in it. Anyways, I have a ton of hemp rope. I mean, I do macrame and stuff like that. I work with hemp rope and stuff like that. So there's anyways, cottonizing it. Levi's found a way to, I mean, it's uncomfortable stuff. It's itchy. The fibers are everywhere. They found a way to work with it a lot better. But anyway, Levi's has been trying to work with it, and they found a way to cottonize it and make it a lot softer on the skin, a lot more like denim, a lot more like cotton t-shirt. So I want to say they're working, what was it? It was like 60% hemp, 65% hemp, 35% cotton blend or something like that they're starting to work on, and they're starting to throw out since like 2019 or something like that. I thought that was a pretty cool bit of information. I personally thought that their first pair was hemp, but when doing a little bit of research, it just seems to be an old fable, old wives' tale, which is still cool. It still seems to be like a fun anecdotal thing to know.
Dude,
that
back in the day when a pair of Levi's would last you like fucking 15, 20 years. Not now.
Oh, they still will, man. They'll last so long. I mean, the knees will blow out in them, of course, eventually. You know, but
old school
everything else on those jeans hold up. They hold up great. And that's what I like about them is that numbering system. We were talking about that in chat. You know, you don't have to remember loose fit, boot cut. You don't have to remember long and slim and trim. You just have to remember what number fits you right. Go look for that color and boom, boom, boom. You know, they got it. They got it set up right. I like them, and they've been around forever. It's always been an American company. They seem to be supposedly they're trying to get their sustainability working with all their farmers and everything up to 100%. But you know, seems to be a good company. So, anyways, why do I need jeans? Shout out New Standard, man. They hired me on board for, I don't know, maybe the harvest season. Maybe we'll see how long it goes after that. But I'm gonna be in the back in the Hazel Park location.
Oh, right on. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. For a few days, couple days a week. Right now, just like fulfilling orders, basically labeling bags. You know, doing
you already
back,
know something
back
about.
Stockroom stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Perfect.
Not pretty enough to be out on the floor, so I'll be back there doing all that stuff, and hopefully get my foot in the door with them. By the way, my best friend growing up, I've known him since like first, second grade. I mean, we've known each other the better part of our lives. He's one of the owners of New Standard, and right now they have a location in Hazel Park, which is a dispensary. They have a Beaverton Farm facility, which is in Beaverton, Michigan. It's like a dual Class C. They have an excellent looking outdoor, excellent green, everything's sun grown. There's a hybrid mix indoor or in the greenhouse, of course, but it's all light deprivation. It's all sun grown. Beautiful, beautiful facility and greenhouses. I'll be sure to share. They actually just posted a excellent like 5.5 minute production, video production. Beautiful farm to dude.
Is that on Instagram?
Like, it's on their Instagram. Yeah, okay. That's at New Standard Cannabis. Maybe my phone's not with me, but anyways,
toss that shit in the chat.
I'm gonna share it on mine at Red Setter Farm, anyways. So
yeah,
I'll throw it up there. I wanted to get this information out first, and then I was gonna share that. So I'll probably share that either later tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, I'm gonna go up there Wednesday. You're probably not going to see me. As for me, I'm probably not going to stop what I'm doing to come out because I won't have time like that. But otherwise, maybe at some point I might be back there doing some other stuff. We'll just
so if I go to New Standard, I might be able to get some As Touched by Red Setter Farm dank.
That most definitely happened. Here's what you can also get. You can get platinum vapes. You can get element concentrates. You can get
flour.
Mint and Canico flour.
Yeah, man.
So
maybe I could get that Han Solo burger.
That day, I don't know. Okay. But I might be putting my little digits on some Mint and Canico here.
Can I check some? What do I check? Do I check Weed Maps? Do I check Leafly? Which one do I check to see what your menu is? We know. Either way, check either one of those.
Man, to be quite honest, I haven't used either of those sites.
Is it New Standard? New Standard Cannabis.
They have a website, a New Standard Cannabis. Yeah, so check them out.
Right on.
Here, you know what? Screen share?
Screen share, baby.
Let's up our production value a little bit.
Can you share it? Let's see.
If I can figure out how to use my internet program. As long as
you're a co-host, right?
Crazy, like make us have to edit this.
You co-host him? Okay.
Am I co-hosting now?
Sequence has spoken from the side. Oh, I am the host.
Sorry about that.
I'm the captain. We are going to...
I was paying attention.
You are. You're there. Shout out to Sequence. I don't know how many of you know this, but he is what makes all of this possible for us. He's the one that gets us online, gets us up and running every time. So
thanks, man.
Give him a shout out in the chat just for making it all possible for us, man. Thank you, Sequence.
All right, so this is, I don't know if you can see the URL, but
is there anyone under 21 watching this?
anewstandard.com. I sure hope not.
That's a good point.
But I'm gonna log
It's an
in
adult
as a
program, so we've
Our
worked
video is marked not for.
And this is what they look like inside. And
that's pretty
these
fucking
guys,
swanky.
they've been featured in Forbes already. They're already best in Metro Times.
Swank.
The up and coming, and they have only been open.
All right, let's cut to the chase.
So
Show me the menu. Show me the menu.
Oh man, now I have to navigate.
Whoever did their logo did awesome.
Yes,
well, we can order now.
Looks like a number 2 pencil logo to me.
Well, I like that it's new standard and the S is above.
It's that smart. Would be
real smart.
Oh, what is that called?
So
Superscript.
Superscript discount menu. It looks like. Here we go. Here's some specials.
GMO jelly, baby.
Collective.
Wedding cake.
Look at this. Looks like True North Collectives.
That's kind of nice. Hey.
Cheesy.
Show it on. Stretch your stuff. 69% THC.
60. We're looking at 69. Yeah. Indica. We got a real nice layout of.
I like how they give you the effects on there. That's dope.
I do too. Here, let's take a look at those here. Sleepy and happy, and relaxed. Pain relief. Yeah, typical indica there. I like it. They give you a nice little. There. What else we got on the?
Zeke, how excited are you for your wedding cake clone? Just let's level with me for a minute.
Order now is the way.
Dude, I'm over the moon about wedding cake clone.
Shout out to whoever gave him that clone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can.
No, you can't name, but you can say. But you can say thank you.
What is this?
Yeah, I don't want to blow up his spot, but thank you to the man that gave me the wedding cake. I know it's the real deal stuff. I was looking for it for a long time. So
yes, I can agree.
Really happy to have wedding cake. They've got some pretty decent prices on some of that stuff, right? I'm pretty surprised. That's Rec, right?
This is Rec.
Solo burger right there. That Mitten Canico, $70 for that 8th, baby.
Ooh. So here is the Beaverton
Farms.
This is what they grow here at Beaverton Farms. So we got Flow. We got Beaverton Farms Grape Pie. Beaverton Farms Rolos.
Ooh. Yeah. Do they have your cut, Red?
Yeah. No.
I don't know if I can speak whether or not I.
Okay.
Okay then.
Right on.
Or
I mean, it's cool to have the same cut that the people grow. I know what that's like. I mean, I have GMO.
Well, and that's one of those reasons why I can't really. I've talked about that on the air in the past.
So let's talk about this.
Share that one.
Let's talk about this Mitten Canico Han Solo Burger number 7. The last time that I smoked that was at the Grow Off. Shout out to Nutrient Shootouts for hosting the event there, and definitely shout out to Matt and Spartan for some fantastic fucking smoke. We've got 29.98% THC, folks. That is tested. That is
New standard won't round it up either. That shit ain't 30%. They ain't kidding.
Now scroll down and show me those effects. It's just so
dude. Look at the effects
tasteful.
down here. I like that. I like that. These are different than the other one. They don't have the same one. They have inspired added to this one. They've created.
I feel inspired just looking at it.
Oh, yeah, man. Shout out to everybody over at Mitten Canico, Matt and the crew. Thank you very much, guys, for doing what you do and bringing what you do to market.
You're looking at. I'm sorry, not you're looking at. I started that sentence off completely wrong. I actually got a chance to smoke some Han Solo Burger when I went to Bloom. There's another little spot I shot out in Ann Arbor. It's a little spot I like to frequent. I get some dog CBD and stuff like that. It's actually made for dogs, lab tested. Everything.
Which dog CBD do you like the most, Red?
Man, I can't think of the brand to shout it out.
This is for personal use, right?
Yeah,
for personal use, and it comes in fish oil. The dog absolutely loves it, and it has and it has the fucking test results on it. You don't ever get test results on CBD. Like, I want to take the shit, but it's in fish oil and it smells gross. You know what I mean?
I can't choke it down. And Red eats some weird shit.
All right, Red or Skilbo, kill his share before he does.
All right, let's
before I do something bad. I'm already starting to click around here. All right. So anyway,
he's getting flighty and I'm getting nervous.
He's getting nervous.
All right, stop share. There we go. I figured it out. Okay. All right.
It is the late sesh, folks. Cheers. I hope that everybody's having
a little flighty, and I had to call that off real quick.
No, yeah. The only other tab, fortunately, was just my YouTube tab, so you just got to see what everybody else.
Every fucking show sequence. Every fucking show, he gets me at least once. Where I always try not to crack up on here, man, but he just gets me. So,
you guys are my favorite.
It's real.
Yeah, actually, the bucket next to me, I'm about to crack open, has some flow in it itself. Some flow. I'm excited about that.
What are we gonna do for hash time, Red?
Dude, I was gonna do some just these little nuggets that I got here. You probably can't see. It's not gonna.
Yeah, they're pretty dark, man.
I only got a couple of this huge, massive jar.
I know you're teasing us with this jar size.
Finger hash, but that's a flow from a couple years ago. Skillbo, you got a couple of those.
Man.
I put them in my pipe last night for hash time, dude, and I went dead silent for the rest of the show. Somebody commented how sleepy I looked in chat. Now granted, I don't drink, and I did have a couple beers yesterday.
Which one's this?
So that probably had aided in my sleepiness, dude. That looks like like the dementia or the Death Star.
I think it's Death Star. It's Death Star. Yeah, it's festival hash. I think I like that though, man. I know, like, one of the first times that I ever sat down and chopped it up with Red about hash, he has always made this joke about festival hash with me because I got all excited. I was like, oh shit, Red. I said, this is the hash that I remember growing up back in, like, you know, like, let's say 87, 88, 89, something like that. And then it was when I went overseas later on, and I got to go to Amsterdam, that I got to figure out what dry sift was and everything else. But before that, everything was quote unquote festival hash. And I have a dear love for it. I know that a lot of people look down on it and poo-poo it and everything else. But Reds, I've had some of this Death Star. He's given it to me 3 times. So I think I've had it for a year now, man. And it's one of my favorite things. I love sharing it with other people. They get excited too, my friends, because they're just as fucking old as I am. Like, oh, bro, yeah, let's wait, let it light on corner. So you light the corner of it, right? You get it burning, and you give it that little puff, and you get it burning. So all us old heads get excited off that shit.
I can totally talk about.
I get excited about that stuff too, man.
It's just such a throwback, man. Really
throwback when people respected the plant so much, and like every individual joint so much that you got to smell and taste every one before you lit it.
Well, yeah, before I grew, you know, it was hard to come up when, you know, think about this. When you're fucking 13, 14 years old and it's 1987, how hard do you think it was for me to score weed on a consistent basis, folks? Let's keep it real.
Now we're just shoveling it in. We're like, how much can
we're making up for lost time, folks? That's what we're doing.
Exactly. How many joints can we pass around this table? It's very, very different.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. After you start growing your own, you get to the point where you get to get pushy with it for yourself. Go with it, Brett.
No, sorry, man. Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. There was a creator. I don't know, a glass artist, I'd imagine. I think he's a glass artist, and I can never go back to his page. I really got to save it one of these times. I keep forgetting to. I should have actually just got it on auction when they were auctioning it. It's these really cool old school hash jars. Okay, if you've ever smoked hash by using what do we call it? We call it a cup and a cap or something like that. You basically use a
hot knives in a cup,
a straw. You light your hash, put it on your table, you put it on a pin. Put it on a thumbtack, on a flat thumbtack upside down, and set that sucker there, and then you put a glass over it. Just enough air at the bottom that it keeps smoldering. It fills up with smoke, and then you stick a straw or some shit underneath it, and you suck all the smoke out. You know, you get yourself a nice little rip from hash. So anyway, this guy has a beautiful one that he made with a handcrafted wooden bottom, a really beautiful handcrafted glass dome with a little hole in the top with a cap, and the thing is awesome. And the wooden bottom has a nice little nail arty,
you just stick it right on there. Yeah, for sure. I've seen those before.
Thing is awesome.
I think you showed it to us, Red, once in the chat.
I think he may have. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Who the artist was?
What's kind of classy? You know what I mean? In hash, you shouldn't just like blow through fucking hash. I got a lot off of Red. Shit, when was that, Red? June?
You shouldn't blow through hash? Is that what you're telling me?
No,
Daddy Red said he's guilty. Sounds like he's pinned some hash back in the day.
I'm sure. No, but I don't burn it all the time. Obviously I do for the show, but I like being more in tune with it. And that may be some frugal force shit where y'all may be like, oh, Jesus, here we fucking go. But to me, hash is the essence of the plant. And as a grower, you should really be trying to establish a relationship with the plant, being in tune with it. And when you are able to make your own and grow your own, maybe it's just dry sift. Maybe it's dry sift and you make a fucking temple ball out of it. You get a big ass glass bottle, maybe some Absolute or something. You fill that shit with some boiling water and you do the whole thing. Definitely go check out Dank Duchess for that, or some Frenchy Cannoli if you want to learn more about how to make a temple ball. But to be able to really get down and be like, yes, this is what I grew. This is the essence of the plant I fucking grew. Oh man, it's just kind of fucking cool to me. Maybe that makes me an old, I don't know, whatever.
I'm gonna turn you into old dirty hippie, and I'm gonna do that by I'm gonna talk about hash a little bit.
Well, yeah, man.
I'm gonna go
Make
back.
this the hash
We're gonna get a little clandestine for a second. We're gonna go back to little taboo days. So let's take all these magnificent flowers, right? And well, let's go back to I don't know. I don't want to give a decade because it's been going on for longer.
It's a legal decade. Let's put it that way.
No,
328.
But let's just go back to any time and let's just talk about being able to fit. Let's talk about the difference between being able to fit a bunch of flour packaged up. Let's call it a gas tank of I don't know, Volkswagen microbus or something. Let's talk about packaging up all the wheels of the Volkswagen microbus with flour, or let's talk about the difference between that and let's get rid of the plant material and just use activated resin heads, and let's just talk about hash, because basically you beat the shit out of your plant material, you can get all of the trichome heads and probably a lot of plant material and get a lot of different weight. You can compress it down to the point where you can load all your door panels and everything up. This is a decade long ago, pre-legalization of course. I don't know if this occurs anymore. But that's what they would do, man. So anyway, groups would go and they would go to Germany, I believe, and purchase a bunch of microbuses. They drive them into places like Afghanistan, and they load up the door panels and load up the wheel wells and the gas tanks and fill it with hash, and then they would ship the cargo home. Open it back up when they got over here, and lo and behold, now we have a lot of microbuses here in the United States, right?
But Arizona.
So maybe if you have one of those at home, go back and check your
I'm looking for one.
panels, give them a little knock. You might find a little old brick of hash laying inside of one of those.
Yeah, definitely.
So my festival hash, I'm not looking to retain any type of an old culture or anything like that for any means. What I'm trying to do is be able to
define festival hash.
Be able to compress as much into a small container as I can, right? If I can only fit this in my backpack, you can only get so much something in a backpack before it gets tapped with the little stick wand, and then they got to pull it out and inspect it, and it gets thrown in the garbage, which is actually the festival guard's pocket. Somebody basically just steals it from you. So if I want to spend a weekend and have enough smoke to get through the weekend, all right, I need to be able to condense it and put it into a small enough container that might be able to fit inside of something like a radio or some shit, right? And put it inside of or whatever, so you can kind of get past the security guards and be able to have your smoke for the weekend. So because they will, man, they'll just they won't kick you out or nothing. They won't put you to jail or nothing. They'll just pocket the shit. It doesn't matter what state you're in, they'll just pocket it.
Imagine that after party.
So, yeah, no shit, dude, right? They're going, and I mean, all they're a bunch of people who like to go to festivals, and they just get on the volunteer list, really, and follow the routine, wear the glowing vest, and hold wands, sticks, and poke your bag. You shouldn't have glass in there anyway. A lot of people walk around with bare feet, so I'm on board with the no glass, no jar limit, also. So anyways, I'm really sidetracking myself. So what I like to do when I make hash is I kind of go for yield. I'm trying to get as full spectrum food grade type of the hash as I'm working with. And this isn't all of my hash art, right?
Not at all. No.
Here's There's some good hash.
Dude, let me just speak on that GDP. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Great bleed too.
So this is much different, right? I'm going to just show you the difference in quality. This is a dry sifted hash. And I could press it down and darken the color. It wouldn't be too difficult to do.
But as someone who has smoked that specific run of grape glee right there, I have a jar of it myself. It's just so damn smooth. Like you can add that and top a bowl with that. And besides the flavor, you wouldn't know you were smoking hash. It's just that clean and that smooth of a burn. So I guess this is a good point to shout out about, look at Red. Yeah, we're talking about dry sift, right? Look into a trim tray or a trim bin or buying the actual silk screen, or look into however you can, because dry sift is fucking amazing, man. That's the festival there. See how she's kind of chunked up.
And these are festival nuggets. These are and this so is the bottom of it. This
how are we doing originally. That? How do I get that versus
okay,
dry
so so you go back to the throwback way of making ice bucket. Excuse me. I'm doing ice bucket bubble hash. In my case, instead of using a wooden spoon and gently creating my vortex, you go in there with a dough mixer and you just, with the ice and
the metal paddle.
In my case, it was bottoms. It was all flour. The Death Star and the Dementia was all flour.
Should have get you high. The Death Star. Well,
first you freeze it, right? You take your bag and you freeze it. Okay, you take your whatever gallon bag that you're gonna run through your bubble bags and your bag of material. There we go. Your bag of flour or whatever you're gonna. You freeze it, right? Stick it in the freezer for an hour, a couple hours or something, and then you really chop it up. And if you really want to go full spectrum with it, you can run it through a food processor. That's really beating the shit out of it. So I don't recommend doing that. But if sometimes
she's gonna be green,
if you're using flour, if you're doing a flour run, it might be a good idea to run through a food processor and grind up all your flour first, because then you really maximize your yield. And I'm really just telling you how to get the yield off of this one. And that's so run your stuff through a food processor, and then you hit it with the whip, and that process doesn't take a lot, but usually you get a lot of contamination when you're running it through a food processor. You're getting a lot of plant material, but you're keeping it very full spectrum. It's no different than smoking a joint of flour, but you're able to condense it, compress it. It won't mold on you like a moldy bud of brickweed or something might. It's a lot easier to keep and store. I don't find that it oxidizes or degrades the way that, because I mean, God, so much more plant material is still coming out of the bottom. I mean, there's a ton of plant material. There's a ton.
Dude, there's a good question in chat.
Mostly, I mean, if I were to call this, I would say that it's like, if a good dry sift is I don't know, 60 to, let's call this 65%. I'd say the bubble. I've gotten it tested. I've gotten my bubble hash tested with that same method, and it came back in the 35-40% range.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's better than flour.
I would be happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And it went to the mountains and back, opened and closed, humidity through the roof. It turned into Play-Doh and putty. Then I got it tested, and it still came back with no microbials. So, and that was just air dry, no cheese.
I was just gonna say, how do I dry that?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
one of the things that I do is I don't let it sit wet at all. Once it comes out of the bubble bag, and I do the spoon scoop and all of that, but I put it on a 25 micron bag that's on a stack of like paper towel or a moisture absorbing material, and then I lay another 25 micron bag over top of that. Or what I get is actually from Amazon, I get they're like little 6-inch squares of 25 micron material, and they're all stitched up on the sides to make it nice. Or you could probably get yourself a big sheet of 25 micron material if you wanted to cut costs, but make your own. But I just use that. I basically sandwich it between 25 micron material, and I lay some moisture absorbing material on it, and I just press it down. And then when I got a whole bunch of those little pucks, I break it all up into little chunks, and then I lay it out. and I make sure that my room is drying conditions of cannabis. You know,
now you mentioned a grater.
50%, 55% humidity, 60 degrees, 65 degrees temperature. Let it sit out for a couple more weeks and let it dry, you know, and monitor it every day. And always go back and open them up and make sure that you don't have a big stack of it, you know, because it's you're gonna get your microclimates and stuff.
I really like the pizza box idea. I really thought that was cool.
I do like the open air dry the stuff. I will lay like I'll lay I'll just keep
the
a 25 micron.
Sure.
I keep a 25 micron just laying over top of it to prevent dust and shit. Or a coffee filter is a good one that I like to use. So I'll do 25 micron on the bottom, and then I'll just toss a cup of coffee filter over the top. And that coffee filter will act as a little like breathable globe, you know what I mean? And it'll allow like air to passively go through it, but it won't allow like dust and shit to settle down. And you know, it's usually not 2 weeks. It's usually like 5 to 7 days. The stuff's starting to get like less than pliable.
You know what I mean? You don't leave like a big gob in the middle. You try to.
No, at no given time is any thicker than like 3/8. You know, it's
right.
No thicker than like 5/16 or something like that. Like it's between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. You know what I mean? It never let it get as thick as 1/4 of an inch. And that's just like, that's part of that, just pressing, making yourself a little pancake, getting as much moisture out as you can initially, and then letting it air dry. I mean, you can keep pressing as much as you can. Dude, get the moisture out.
I got the washing machine, man. I want to try it for the first time, but I have to wait until I'm off. Then I have to go source the ice and all that good shit. But I'm really excited to try it. I saved all of my bees and bottoms from the last 4x8 harvest, so I've got like a substantial amount of actual bud and not trim. And I also have some old ass abolished OG that I want to do the same thing with. So I want to do a run of that. I have the 5-gallon bubble bags, and it's going to be a, you know, hey, I've always wanted to make my own hash because I've enjoyed it since I was a kid, man, before I was in high school. So to be able to try to make my own, and I understand that a lot of people will poo-poo the washing machine, and they'll say that I would be much better served if I were to do it with a paddle by hand. And I'm not going to argue with that. You're probably right. But I'm old and I'm broke down. And I told you earlier in the show that I've got a bunch of crushed discs and shit. So to me, I try to make gardening easier on myself rather than more painstaking. So if I have to give up, you know, to go from an A- to an A for being able to create my own hash for my own garden, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that.
It's one of my experiences with hash Scobo.
Exactly.
You reminded me, man. I mean, 20, it was $25 a gram, $30 a gram for a nug of bubble hash, you know.
It's expensive, man. I mean, it's worth it, but at the same time, it's expensive.
That was in high school. It was post high school.
Pre 2008.
Yeah. Pre 2008, definitely. And it was more like scissor hash. It was more like opium hash. It was like gummy and like, you know, very, very tar like consistency. It was probably just the way it was manufactured, or maybe it was imported. Could have been good imported. Who knows, Afghanistan hash or whatever, you know, who knows where it came from. So anyways, chances are it was probably, I don't know,
dude, some of that Moroccan shit, man.
Yeah, dude, but never sourced my own because of the cost, you know, being a teenager and stuff like that. It was brickweed, you know. That was what we went for. It was like whatever I can get. If I get a quarter, you know, if I get 7 or 8 grams for $20, I'm doing that, and that's what I got. And that usually had, you know, mostly seed weight, stem weight, but
5 minutes to hash time. We're talking about all this hash. 5 minutes to hash time, folks.
It was like pressed weed, anyways. So it was pretty much hash, right? Yeah, I always wanted to make my own just because it was a high rated commodity.
So what was the first thing that you did? Like, how did you make your own, and what plant did you use, and how shitty was it?
Mail. I used a mail. That was the first one I used because
well, there you go,
so
folks.
You get a little bit off of it. It was the very first plant that I had to like.
Did you get any kind of return?
What I would consider like a contamination return. You know what I mean? I definitely smoked it. I got high. You know,
did you get high?
Okay,
yeah, fuck it, man.
But well, I didn't have bubble bags or anything, man. The way I had to use like whatever mesh screen I had.
I was gonna say, Red, how did you process your mail? Did you rub it?
I did the same wash process. You know, as soon as I saw that it was a mail, I was killing it. This is one of my very first runs. So I had already known to kill mail. Like I had done enough research to kill males and everything. And I say this at first run, I had like 4 seeds that were planted out like in the front of my deck in this house that I was renting in Dearborn.
Right.
And
people can absolutely see that of you, brother.
Yeah, you know, and they were in the ground, you know, planted them right in the ground out there and right in between some shrubbery. Of course, a few of them got ripped because I had parties all the time, show my buddies the plants. And at one time, one of my roommates, he was a teacher, and he was like, you know, man, I can't lose my job over this stuff. This hovering 2008, 2009 era, you know, right as medical was kind of
on the radar.
So he's like, you know, I can't lose my job over, you know, these things. I need to get rid of them. So I ended up taking it inside, and the plant kind of had to do a little reverting, but it was starting to flower outside. And when it reverted, it got huge and turned into a massive plant. But anyway, a male that I had called from that crop earlier in the year, I washed in a bucket of ice, you know, and so the process back then, I don't even think that there were bubble bags. A Bubble Man, at least, Bubble Man's bag company at least didn't exist yet. And there was more of a, I can't think of what the recommendations were to use, but it was like coffee filters and shit, like sieving with coffee filters and like
I was getting some
bags.
Of that bullshit out. Yeah. Okay.
And I used a laundry bag for a bulk screen. And then I
like
just slow dripped everything through a fucking funnel and in a coffee filter, and it took forever. It absolutely took forever, and I yielded like this tiny little half bowl's worth of contaminated male, probably pollen and whatever.
Did you get
else,
headache?
Right?
Did you get headache or did you get high?
I got a headache. But did you get high? I got a half high. It was like dark green, like, you know what I mean. Like,
would you describe your high as oxygen deprivation or THC? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Deprivation high.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, we used to hit the shit so stupid when I was a kid. Hold your breath. Hold it in. Oh, Jesus. We were so fucking stupid.
Dude, that one. Oh, man. When the female came around, dude, that male was actually kind of cool.
Right. But ow.
Nice.
That's what we're getting down with today.
I did end up growing another male. I grew a male out in like a bedroom window. That was fun. That was really fun.
Cheers, Jack.
I think I got pretty big, but it was good to see the anatomy of it, you know?
Well, sure.
The way that the plant grows. I was very inexperienced to the way that the plant grew. When I was
are you rolling a joint at 11:59?
What the fuck is this little pancake? What is this little pancake thing with the stem coming out in the middle?
Hash time, Red. Hash time.
Red, you gotta get your bowl ready, bro. Yeah, but he's over there twisting up a J. Yeah, right, well, I mean, I got a joint waiting for me too. But, you know.
I should just throw some hash in this J. Oh,
you could do that too.
That but you won't finish rolling that for another 25 minutes, right?
Yeah, you're right, dude. I'm just gonna. I already got the grape glee next to me. That's what I want to smoke. So, hey, I'm gonna do that. I'm totally do that.
I see.
I used to just wash whatever I had, man. Whatever I had laying around, I could just keep my material. I didn't want to throw. I didn't know what to do with the mail. Still wanted to smoke it. I was like, how do I get the trichomes off this thing?
Something.
Sorry, guys. It's kind of crinkly.
But ow. Hash time. Sorry, Jack.
Oh, my ears.
My ears.
Now, I have headphones on. It's not that bad for me, but my headphones are going over my ears. They're not going inside my ears. That might be kind of different.
Oh, a nice little off-topic late sesh type question for you, Red. When I get my my amp and stuff for my headphones, I might need some help setting those up. So I'm going to give you a little ring-a-ling.
Dude, you got to get a new mic and a new fucking set of headphones.
I got it's a DAC. Is that a digital audio converter and an amplifier?
It sounds like that. Yeah, that's
for my headphones.
Acronym.
And patch cables. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so jelly of those headphones anyway. Those are dope. Those Sennheisers.
Yeah. So I'm just driving the Sennheisers.
Those are fucking nice.
Some better quality. So I can hear that ring even louder. And coughs and
all the other fucking annoying
all bullshit. The other fucking
non-podcast moments.
Yeah, so I can hear red wormhole down wherever alien topic he's going on. My favorite.
Cheers, guys. I see there's 102 of us chilling for hash time. I hope that you are able to, if nothing else, toke down with us instead of smoking alone.
Let's hear my favorite audio companies, my favorite electronic companies. Real fast and a quick wormhole are for headphones. I like Sony.
Dude, I had some MDR 600s forever.
I like Pioneer, but yeah, I prefer Sony. I've been rolling Sony forever since I was a little kid. Every pair of headphones. When I started DJing professionally, I went Sony. I tried Pioneer for a little while, but the quality, like the audio, always sounded okay with Pioneer, but the headphones actually just fucking fall apart, dude. I mean,
what are you using right now?
I mean, when you're DJing, you're flipping them around and fucking doing all kinds of crazy shit with them. So, they got to hold up. I have not done any gigs with these yet. These have just fortunately just stayed on my head, but these are I can't think of the model number on right now. Oh,
on the side.
They are MDR 750. Sorry about
750s. I had the 600s.
Did that feedback hit you guys? I apologize with that. That's way worse than a dab belt. Sorry.
Now, you see, for years, like 25 years, I had some MDR 600s, which are like the old school Sonys. I think if you try to find them now, they used to be like $100. I think if you try to find them now, they're like probably 200 or 300. It's kind of like trying to buy in fucking Techniques player. But these are, what are these ones?
Techniques.
One Audio. And Audio is with an O. These were like $39, and I was really impressed with the sound of them. And you can basically unplug the set from them.
Did you just say Audio is with an O?
Yeah, One Audio. ONEODIO. They were on Amazon. I think they're $39.99.
Oh, I was like, Audio always has an O. I was all confused, dude. You can't hit me with that. I was like, what the hell?
It is
Audio with the O, like the word started with the O?
Yeah, no, it is after midnight, folks. Yeah, East Coast time.
Yeah, you hit me with that after hash time. Not fair at all.
What do you have for concentrates over there left? You were talking about the carb cap.
Dude, I have everything. Yeah, I'm using my pendant as a carb cap now. Thanks. Shout out to Zoo Glass. It's probably my favorite. Actually, it fits.
Now you've had that for a long time too, haven't you?
Yeah. Speaking of pendant as a carb cap, man, I was on the show. We were finishing, or we were about to start the show, or one of the two last night.
You showed that. Yes. That was a dope ass fucking piece, man.
The bongs and everything.
Yeah, man.
I almost bid 2 minutes before it ended and won that, and I almost won it. And I didn't. I was like, do I really need to spend $200 right now on a piece of glass? No. So I didn't. Because I can't afford that right now, but I really wanted to. It was super, super sexy. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford a nice piece like that.
You should, man. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
One day. It's the season too and all that stuff, but probably not this year. I treated myself in other ways. I bought lights and all kinds of other shit.
This is a good point to remind everybody that is tuning in. If you know a fellow toker or grower, Christmas is coming, man. Buy somebody a nice pipe. Set yourself a limit. Say like 25, 35, $45, whatever the hell this person's worth to you. Or maybe buy them a nice grinder or toss them a fucking eighth or something like that. But tis the season. You start sharing and things will be shared back with you. And it just makes for a much cooler experience. For example, for hash time, I was using this dope ass chillum right here. Make sure I don't fucking burn the fuck out of my hands. I got this from Lori Hansen and from Tara Wilson, and I fucking love chillums. They know that. So whenever I do hash time and I use this particular pipe, or if I use the tag glass that I got from Doc Dankenstein, I always think of those people when I do my hash time. So it's like good vibes and stuff out. So something to think about, guys. Christmas is coming, man.
You asked me what flavors I had here, Scobo, so I got them out for you. So I got Red's Earth OG. I also have Dab Smith's Trop Cookies, Foul Mouth, Sunset Sherbet.
How is that foul mouth? I'm
really good. It's a cured resin. It's got like a funky smell and taste to it. So which I like.
That's what I'd hope for. Yeah.
Yeah, I like getting the funk. And then I got the Sunset Sherbet and the Trop Cookies and stuff for when I want a little bit, fruitier. But I got the Kush Mints and stuff. And then
is always a winner.
Dro Grows PTSSD, the grow off strain.
Oh, I still have some of that.
He said that he thought
I'm gonna hold it up.
One that had any
camera
left.
Is off. No, I still have some.
All
of course, everybody knows that I would have some.
Yeah.
Look at this cool ass. Oh, come on, there we go. Badao right there. Pineapple Thai, sour strawberry D, Dro Grows. That is 45 to 159. Hash resin. That also goes to Select Pheno. But this is not a sticker. This is laser etched, and I really, really think it's cool. So I'm gonna open this up since I'm the one that has a little bit left.
It's really cool.
And we'll show this off.
You gotta spotlight yourself, host.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I love that.
I am so not technically sound at this, guys. You're gonna have to work.
Shit!
Spotlight for everyone.
Perfect.
I'm not that guy.
You have a lot more left than I do.
Yes, I do.
Ahead in that department.
Yeah. So anyway, this is really, really good stuff. And I have really old lungs, so I don't dab often, but when I do, the crew likes to make fun of me because I have some ancient flavors, some shit that's like, what? Like if I tell Dab Smith what I have, he always laughs at me because he's like, oh, I remember that, because it's been so many runs ago for him. But one of my things that I will say is I always appreciated the Dab Smiths. He did a run of Hercule last year, which was a subcool 1-to-1 CBD THC. And if I'm going to have a really hard day at work, let's say it's a Friday and it's about to be a fucking dumpster fire, many is the time that Skilbo has 5 minutes from the door, heated up the old nectar collector, and gone in for 2 quick hits on it, which to me is substantial because I don't use concentrates like that, which is really nice. Just like I don't go really hard at RSO, or you would think because I make so much tincture that I would be putting tincture in every single thing that I do. But I try not to. I try to hold those things in reserve so that if I need some kind of immediate relief, that I can kick it up a notch, Because basically from the time that I wake up until the time that I go to work, and then that's resumed by the time that I come home from work until the time that I'm able to pass out, I consume cannabis all day. So when I need to kick it up a notch, it's not always so much as easy as like, well, I'll just roll a joint twice as big. Sometimes I do need the relief of the concentrates like that, or I may use the RSO, giving Red a chance to finish his nice, easy draw. You got to name that pipe. That pipe has been through many shows with us now. Has it spoken to you and told you its name yet?
I just named him Watson.
Watson. Yeah. Elementary, my dear.
Suiting for a Sherlock, I suppose.
I want to give a shout out. I showed this we did a non-live stream, just kind of kick it with the crew thing. But I was able to get this pipe from...
Well, that's what I wanted to do during that little textile shout out, dude. I want to shout out Everyday Mary Jane. She's got a little
right on there.
A little Halloween giveaway going on. She's knitting up some fucking socks, dude.
She has an Etsy store, right?
You're not a fan of like knit socks and stuff. Like use them to like store your awesome handcrafted glass in. I mean, she's I think doing hats, witch hats. She's got all kinds of stuff. You gotta check out her site, Everyday Mary J. Where you at, high and tight? You in the chat still? Throw me off. throw a link or something on there if you got it. Feel free. Well, I guess you can't. You probably won't be able to throw a link, but shout out something. Shout out the Instagram for her.
So this piece right here.
I love that Scobo.
Yeah. This is from a Michigan glass blower, and I bought this last weekend. And her name is Lindsay.
In chat. You're welcome, Brittany.
Lindsay Waldo. I bought this at the Van Dyke store of BDT Glass. I've spent a lot of money with them. I really, really dig them. Good people, good glass. It's really nice and thick. It's going to make a really nice hash pipe. But when I bought it, I knew that it wasn't for me. Cheers, Brennan Sherms. Welcome. I bought it because I wanted to support a Michigan glass blower, and because one of the core things that we've started to really make a tradition here is of hash time. So eventually, I'm going to give this to somebody in the crew. I just don't know who yet. So this is what I mean about, if you see a cool piece of glass, pick it up. You'll use it. Somebody else will use it. In this instance, pick this up. I was able to shout out a fellow Michigan glass blower, which I think is dope. And I don't know, man. Glass is cool. Glass is an awesome gift.
I really like the Michigan glass blower JMP. He makes little bangers. He does flour. He does small little flour. I don't know if not bangers. I'm sorry. He does concentrate rigs. There we go. Sequence would be able to say what those are actually called a little better than I can, but they're the small little ones for flavor. He also does a couple of them for flour too, where he has ash catchers and things like that. But dude, I mean, for the price, I can't afford them right now, but they're worth the price. I would totally say it. JMP _ glass, I believe it is on Instagram. He's a Michigan glass blower, putting out some firework.
Cheers, Medical Mondays podcast. What's up?
I've read. Looks like he takes care of his.
You know what I want to know is anybody that knows a Michigan glass blower, drop that name in the chat for us right now so that other people in the chat can go on Instagram or try to find them or ask about them and see if their own local shops can get their gear in. But Red and I are both glass heads. I know that Sequence, he's left to go to sleep now, but he also is a huge glass head. Dab Smith, Scanakitten, and my no-till guy. So many people that are in the crew. Spartan has some dope pieces. It can add to the smoking experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, thanks, Jack. Yeah. So I try to buy local. Like when Sequence's birthday was over the summer, I bought him a piece of glass from a Michigan dude. He showed it in a couple shows previously. I really liked it because it was really thick and it had really cool ass Detroit D, like the Detroit Tigers, the old English D on there in the front of it. And so when I seen that from him, I was like, yeah, man, that's definitely got Sequence's name on it. So I copped it for him and gave it to him for his birthday. Just like for Red, I gave Red he had broken a piece, so I knew kind of what he would like as a bong. So I picked him up one of those really thick, old school. How would you describe that bong? Like the old school, like the striped bong. I'll just show it. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, I knew that Red liked those kind, and it's cool because that is a removable slide. Even though it's an old school one, you can actually pull that out to clear the bong, rather than see, like sometimes those are stuck in there and you're stuck with it. So, but Red wanted something he couldn't break, so
got a little rubber grommet.
Yeah, it's a little grommet there to make
get them wet. Probably put a couple drops of oil or something.
But the top of that is super thick, right?
Food grade oil.
Yeah.
Dude, Nut Tree, I think Nut Tree 420, way up there. I think I should give him a shout out because he has specifically. I gotta shout out some of my tags. Lexi, what's up? And she tagged me. What's going on? And then she, I don't know. Nut Tree 420. They asked what I'm smoking on. Blow in the bottom of the sucker. Grape Glee concentrate dry sip on top.
I don't have that much for that grape lead left, man. That and the what was the other one? Was it Dementia?
The Dementia would be the other festival hash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should smoke some of that, actually, but it's not down here. That one's upstairs.
In the past,
Glow is in this.
You hit me with the 2018 House Medley mix, which was the Snickle Fritz mix of everything from 2018, and he hit me with the dry sip, and that shit laid me out so hard that I actually missed the fucking late sesh. I slept through that shit. So the 2018 hash was not to be fucking trifled with.
I'm pretty sure that's why. Shout out Tara Wilson.
Tara got fucking
the
wrecked
show
off
last week, or maybe it was Sunday night show, or one of the shows she missed, because I'm pretty sure she took a rip of that also.
Well, I was a dumbass. I took like one little tiny nug, and I just sort of like set it over top of the hole in the bowl, and then I just, I got the 7-Eleven Syrupy Slaw. Yeah, man. In there. I just shoveled that shit on there, packed her down really, really well, so I knew that it would burn super, super slow. Oh my god, shit wrecked me. I was like, I'm just gonna lay down for an hour and a half. No, man.
It gets me going. It gets me up and going, and if I can kind of try to keep smoking it, I don't know. I haven't really messed with it during the day, but I've smoked it like on the show, and maybe it's just because I get really high, I get talkative, but it doesn't really put me out, and I don't really go and pass out right after the show either. But there's a lot of old indica. I mean, there's Wi-Fi OG. There's probably some Granddaddy and Grape 8 mixed in there. I mean, there's some of that stuff in there, but there might be some dementia. Yeah, that's there's definitely some other sativa, dominant stuff. The dementia was Blue Dream dominant, and that dementia was very stimulating. I loved it, man. It was such a beautiful plant. It had this like shimmering pearlescent blue color to it. It was so nice of a plant to grow. I mean,
bottom line is, why'd you drop her? Why'd you kick her to the curb?
Because it just got too much larf. Way too much larf. Same reason as everything else. Once you get like the top of the plant trimmed up, and then you look at like 3 buckets worth of stuff, you don't want to sit there and trim.
Dude,
do I have time to make bubble
fuck that. Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. I'm gonna do. See, previously I would tincture the fuck out of that. And either run the RSO way or try to do something topically with it.
You just brought up another topic I almost forgot to talk about.
Run it, bro.
I'm sure it was going to get there eventually.
I just want to say cheers to the 107 that are chilling with us. I hope that you are able to smoke along with us and unwind. You're enjoying the show. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll try to get to them. Dave is talking about, and Jodry is the pop father. Think about Kevin Jodry to me. Watched a lot of his videos, and at Red Has, we were really interested in the old Skunk Projects video that he did, talking about the 88, the 82, whatever the hell it was. That dude has always dropped a lot of knowledge, and I really, really like that, he has been free with the information on things. So shout out to Kevin Jodry. Shout out to you, Dave, also for mentioning him. It's just... like I was saying earlier in the beginning of the show, if you weren't here, I was saying how this whole cannabis community online and YouTube, now that Medical Mondays is here with us, shout out to Medical Mondays podcast. They also do a show on Monday nights here on YouTube. Make sure you go check out their channel and like and subscribe. But we're all just talking about the same shit, man. We're talking about the plant that we love, and we're not all going to do it the same way, and that's okay. But we're all just trying to learn from each other. Good vibes along the way for everybody else. So on that note, cheers and much love.
I like the sentiment of Scobo. I do.
Dude, that's all we do. We just come on here, and it's like, to be honest with you guys, I would kick it with Red whether we were on the air or not. Red is a very, very, very nice person, and I'm very glad to be able to consider him a friend. So, when we do shows like this, no, bro, no, it's all mine. You know what? This show is it's not completely different than the other ones, but this is more of the free flow. Red is a very good vibes guy, and I like to think that I am maybe as well. And so we think that it's a good idea to just, sit back, kick back in your easy chair, roll something up, maybe heat up that email, and smoke along with us, and just kind of unwind on your first day back to work, and have a good night with it. That's all. I was watching a lot of Swami earlier. Anybody that knows, shit, I cannot remember his name at the end of the night. Somebody please in the chat drop Swami's name. It's like Tatiana or something like that. It was videos about how to. It was like a chillum, super baked. Chillum Customs, I believe. How you do what you do with a chillum. Thanks, Kazoo. You rock too, man. There's so many of you guys that Red and I consider like you're always here whenever we go live, man. You guys are here. High and Tight, Diogi, Kazoo. You know what I mean? Smash Cannabis. I'm just looking at names that are on my screen right now. Jack is here. And Swami Select. Thank you, Andrew Chaplin. I appreciate that, brother. Yes. He has several videos on there. Yeah, and Chatiana, thank you, Ian. See, that's why I love chat, man, because when I'm stupid, they're smart. And that's what this is. This is the whole purpose of the show. When I pitched it to Red was like, dude, let's just get high and fucking, it's just like sitting down in the circle in the basement or the back deck or the basement with your dude. You just get high and the fucking topics go where they are. Brittany, yes, aliens. That's where we're trying to work towards, but you can't go hard at it. You have to swerve towards it easily. We'll get there. You just got to be patient. I know we're running out of time, but I'm going to work him there. I promise you. It's 12:22. I got like 20 minutes to get him there. It's time. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mo Vision. It is a cool conversation because I always learn some shit when I talk to Red. Speaking of that,
I think, dude, DOG asks, DOG in chat. Sorry,
not your DOG.
Yeah, not my my homie here at the house.
My homie.
That's about the extract machine. I did.
Did you pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Now you gotta wait 3 months for it to show up.
So, let's see here. Few days ago, they said it should finish up. So what they do is that, ooh, look at that. What you got there, Scubbo? Handful of goods. Ooh, yeah. Speaking of handful of goods, I have a joint rolled. A flow. That was the other part of that question. Nut tree 420.
Dude, does anybody else, if you have like a plant that yields a lot, or maybe you grow a few of the same plant you monocrop, don't discredit using like the 5-gallon bucket with the spin top lid on it. One of these dogs right here. You snap the lid on, and then this just screws into it. It's a really good way, especially if you keep some kind of pack in there, whether it be Bovita or what's the other one called? Is it an Integra? I think it's
Integra.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, supposedly food grade Integra. I don't know, maybe not food grade, but supposedly edible, consumable. Have seen it consumed at least with no known adverse effects. So,
and it doesn't really seem to affect the flavor of it either. So that's one of the things to me is I was worried that in the process of using these that it would like deaden the nose on them, so to say. And I really haven't found that. So you don't want your shit to dry.
If you're starting out
too brittle,
and you want to know, if you want to experience on how your cannabis should feel roughly at those moisture levels, use that stuff, because it's the only way that you're really going to be able to identify that without using some sort of a digital or analog meter that you're going to have
hygrometer
in here with you. Yeah, a hygrometer, some sort. Those bags will pretty much retain whatever moisture that they're supposed to. At least that's what they claim. And there's been a lot of good. I can't think off the top of my head.
It comes from the cigar world.
Did Negro One do a video on testing those, or did he talk about testing those maybe on the show?
I'm not sure.
I know. I want to say Sequence maybe has tested them. And
Sequence comes from the cigar aficionado world. So to him, yeah, he is a big believer. He is not a fan of Bovita. He is a fan of the Integros. I have had Bovita for years. I think Jack in the chat, shout out Jack Greenstock, I think he also uses the packs and may use the Integras as well. I'm not sure. And at this end of the day, I don't know if there's much of a difference because to me, 62% is 62% is 62%. Um, I don't know what the difference would be between the two companies. If anybody is aware of that, drop it in the chat and I will pass it along. Ooh, look at that. She's nice and full.
I will tell you, over time,
there we go.
I've been able to distinguish what I consider too dry. Usually, too dry is a pretty subjective category, in my opinion.
Less than 50%.
That has a lot to do with what people like to smoke, how they like to grind it up, how they like to trim it, where it's at curing when they trim it, things like that. As far as I go, I'm usually well cured before I trim, things like that. So I try to have a little bit of moisture left in my flower. That way it's not falling apart in my hands while I'm manicuring it. I, I'd make sure that there's no mold growing. I definitely don't want it too spongy. Over spongy.
Have you ever
if it's not retracting back when I squeeze it, it's too wet.
You ever had a jar of hay? I have. Back in my very, very early days, I had rushed to it and thought, oh, this is for sure dry enough. I really don't want to waste these terpenes, because I'm a dumbass and it's 2012 and I don't know any better. So I threw them in the jar thinking, oh, well, I'll leave the lid off and then, all the little stupid things that you tell yourself. But at the end of the day, hold on a second. Jack says, I use Integra over Bovita. Bovita is salt-based, semi-porous packs. It leaches some smell. I can smell a Bovita back on a jar and bud sometimes. Integra is sealed pack and uses vegetable gel, not salt. Interesting. Smash Cannabis follows it up. Bovita uses a salt-based gel for humidity control. Integra Boost uses a plant-based gel. That's why it takes longer. Bovita started in the music industry for violence. And you know what? I do remember seeing that Smash Cannabis. I do. Interesting. See, you guys are so fucking. Integra red 58 on the hygrometer, same hydrometer, red 62 with a Bovita. Maybe a bad batch. Ew. Interesting. I have not actually tested mine like that to see what the actual humidity level in the jar may be. So interesting.
Yeah, I haven't. I used to use them in the past. I stopped using them a couple to 3 years ago, maybe, and then it was an added expense that I don't know. I thought was great for a long time. I really did. They really did help out, especially in the wintertime. They're really great in the wintertime. I mean, yeah. I never had a humidifier on my house. When I moved into this house, the humidifier had already been, pretty much burnt out, and I never got it replaced. So fortunately, I have one installed now, so we'll see if it keeps up this season. But past seasons, 20-30% inside humidity. Most of my stuff, open the bucket, you gotta close it so fast, all the, just sucks moisture right out of here, or sucks the moisture right out of the bucket, immediately, and dries it out. When you're trimming, if you have like a pile of cannabis and, just sitting there, you have to have a tiny pile of cannabis because it'll dry out just sitting there while you're trimming. It's just so dry in the room. So humidifier, I always have little toy humidifiers running, just in the house and things like that. So I'll have to get like a good solid swamp cooler if it's really necessary. But the plan is just have it all set up in environment controlled storage room in the same place that I store. Is the same place that I do all my post processing, trimming, and everything.
We have two questions in chat. One of them I'm gonna rely on either you or chat to answer, which is Rico's question. He says, what if your Mammoth P stops stinking? Are the microns dead? I'm not sure. I know that when I was given Mammoth P a long time ago, there was kind of a date on it to use by. But that's as far as my knowledge goes. And then Andrew Chaplin asks, how long before your flower hits the jar after chopping? So pick either one of those or speak to both.
I know in my experience with Tribus, not Mammoth P, that when the microbes are aged and dead, that it is rancid, but that is an aged death. I don't know if that's like a death from temperature or a death from poor storage or something like that. In your case, like if they're new and you think that they're dead, typically the smell isn't that bad when they're new. Like
Ooh, photosynthesis plus is. Ooh.
I don't even. It's no worse than a kombucha. It's even sweeter than a kombucha. I mean, there's less vinegar of a smell. It smells more like a
Red eats
dirty
weird shit
chocolate
and drinks
milk or
weird shit.
something. Yeah. Yeah, it smells like a sour chocolate milk kind of. Not even sour.
Doesn't that
When it
sound
goes sour,
tasty?
you know. Well, you really know when it goes rancid. It really smells like sour milk. It gets that funky burning nose scent to it. That's what I got, and that's an aged. And I'll still use it up just because there's probably some good stuff in there and bad stuff in there, and using such a small amount of it. But I don't know. In the Mammoth P case, what was the second question, Scobo? One more time.
The second question was, how long after you cut do you jar? What makes you buck them and jar them?
So I'm gonna try to dry them for as long as I can, and that's usually 10 days, 10 days to 14 days, depending on cola
What's
size.
your humidity in your room that you're drying in?
Well, the humidity is always going to be 50 to 55%.
Okay.
The temperature in my scenario, I would like to maintain it like
less than 70.
50. Yeah, like as cold as I could, honestly, to keep that humidity, without having to pump too much water into the room. As far as what I currently have it at is there's no humidifier, so
you don't need one.
In the wintertime it's different than in the summertime. Let me get to in the summertime. In the summertime, when there's ambient humidity and I'm pulling humidity out of the air with my dehumidifier, I'm adding a little bit of heat. The room's already naturally warm because of the, let's say it's 100 degrees outside, midsummer sun. The room's already naturally warm. It's probably 75, 80 degrees in the insulated room. And then add the heat from the humidifier. It's probably like 80, 85 degrees, which is pretty hot for drying. I don't like that. So the idea is to vent the room, maybe add an air conditioner in the room if I have to, do something to mitigate the temperature increase. Anyways, in the wintertime, same deal. Without having a humidifier on the house, I'm looking at 20 to 30% humidity. So when my cannabis is hanging, it dries out in like 3 to 5 days.
Shit, that's no good.
That is way too fast of a dry. So what I end up having, what you end up getting is really, really crisp flowers, but you get a ton of water still in the inside and stuff.
Yeah.
So what I end up doing is I seal it off. I take I don't know, bucket, a tote, whatever you want to use, a jar, I don't know, and I homogenize the entire plant. All the sticks, all the stems, everything, and I put it all in a bucket and a tote, and I seal it off. It adds a little bit of moisture back up to the plant, and usually by then, that's usually like sealed. I don't even really need to burp it. I've gotten it down to knowing if it's too dry or not, and
once I
a lot of times it can almost be if you don't catch it right and it goes too dry, you have to rehydrate it.
That's where that terracotta thing comes in that Jack was talking about.
Yeah, and to rehydrate, I think my headphones may be too loud. Either my headphones are too loud or you're too dim. Because I feel like I'm really talking over you. Yeah, I can't hear you when you talk, so I feel like I'm really over talking you.
You're good.
Okay. That's where like an Integra pack would come into play really, really well. If you're over dry.
So if you use a tote, do you use one of those packs?
No. That's what I'm gonna. I could use 2 of those. I could use 4 of those.
The large ones, right?
You can get the large ones. They come in different sizes. In my scenario, in my case, I do this technique that I've developed over time where I basically put water in the tote. So indirectly, I saturate paper towel. Paper towels are clean.
Yeah. Squeeze it out and then throw it in there.
And I just saturate it and I squeeze out most of the water. I keep a little bit in it, and then I put it inside of a Ziploc baggie. The outside of the baggie I don't let get wet. I make sure I don't let it get wet. If my hands are wet, anything like that, I make sure my hands are dry and everything. And then the paper towel goes inside the baggie without dripping any water on the outside of the baggie. The baggie remains open, kind of fold down the sides, and I actually leave it open. And then I'll place that, and I'll kind of cup out a little place inside the weed, maybe in the middle. Usually it's on the side. Usually I'll do a couple bags at each corner of in a couple different corners of the tote. Half the bag is touching the side of the tote. The other is kind of pinched between the tote and the cannabis, kind of acting as the side of a tote normally would. So you're not getting any flat spots or anything. I never let it go into a container wet enough to get flat spots. First off, it's always dry enough that it's not going to do that. It's always going to
be like 65.
Yeah, in my experience, if it's going to compress and not expand back out the way that it should, you're either cramming too much in your container or it's still too wet and it's going to get moldy and probably fill microbes. Anyways, so just toss that bag in there, and it's going to take at least 24 hours, minimum of 24 hours for the entire thing to rehomogenize. But within 24 to 36 hours, you should get back to a nice saturation point, to where at that point just keep testing it. And like I said, if it's getting to the point where it's not retracting properly, you have too much moisture, hey, it's dry enough out, so what? Leave your tote open for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. Pull out those bags. Or don't let those bags sit in there more than 2 or 3 days either, because then you'll start getting mildew and stuff on the inside of those bags. That's where you'll start to contaminate. So if there's no contamination really in the tote, you should be fine for a few days. You should be good, unless you're really opening and closing this thing a lot. But if you have a really, really clean product, you should be really, really good for at least a couple of days with that in there. And in the dead middle of wintertime, man, that's what I use when in a really, really dry attic situation.
You know what I do is I wait until my cannabis is dry and cured, and then I'll take it in one of the larger ball jars, the tall boys. And I have one of the food savers that has the attachment to seal ball jars on it. There's like a piece that goes on it, and then the hose goes to it. And I did an experiment with a crop that I harvested in November of 2018, and it was called Twisted Citrus. And it was really super like old school California orange flavored, man. It was really, really good. Super sativa. And I had just finished that probably 3 months ago. I kept it sealed for all of 2019 and part of 2020. And then when the pandemic started, I needed those feel good sativa vibes that I knew I had been sitting on for just such an occasion as this. So I plowed through that quarter, and I feel like the essence of the plant was actually saved by using the vacuum seal of the food saver without having to worry about vacuum sealing and over sealing something like a vacuum seal bag. So something to think about if you use any kind of mason jar, ball jar, or something like that is using the food saver for that. Talking DMT, they must be talking aliens, Red.
Good idea. Yeah, I'm over here.
Is it alien time?
They're running up the tree. It almost is. I think they're getting into it.
They're running at that K2 shit.
And I want to finish answering that question. I kind of beat around it a little bit. We talked about drying and curing, but
there was a sugar leaf
as far as
question
getting
too.
it to the jar, I'd like to get it there as fast as I could, I suppose, once it is like properly, but give it a few extra days in that tote, just homogenize that moisture. Like I said, now we're probably at like day 14 or something like that, 2 weeks after. By then, I'm going to start trimming it and giving it to patients. It'll hit the jar after I trim it. It's a very, very, very delayed process sometimes, depending on when a patient needs it. I'm only allowed to have 5 patients here in Michigan. So once the patient needs it, then I'll buck it down and trim it up for them. I really prefer that process. I find that I retain the nose, I retain the terpene so much more when I do that than when it sits in the jar on the shelf for 2 weeks after it's been trimmed. You smell it and you're like, which jar is which? Shit, I can almost hardly indistinguish these two. Whereas if they're freshly trimmed, it's like, oh yeah, this is totally
clearly.
You know what I mean? It's really it has a tendency. It doesn't matter like what it is, how which time of the year that I trim it. It always ends up having that little like bit of a fade. Some stuff, like the cheese, Apollo, and it's always indistinguishable. Sour diesel, it's always as indistinguishable because what they'll do is when they start to like lose the nose, they lose it in a different way. They lose it in like a fermenting type of a way, where you'll like really smell that sour off of it. You'll really smell that cheese off of it. You'll really smell, and that in itself is a good thing also. But I think that you're going to get that either way because you're sealed up, homogenized, you're maintaining whether or not it's sealed is just you're preventing oxidization that way, and you're maintaining a proper, the key is just maintaining that moisture level. The moisture's going up and down and up and down and up, and now you're fucking it up.
That's what scares me about. Let's go back to that hash thing. Is I'm just afraid of not properly drying this hash and it developing some kind of mold.
You should properly dry it as long as the environment that you're drying it in is properly rained, as you're in the right ranges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Less than, I'm like 54%.
If you start making hash now, we should not be getting, if you're indoors, you shouldn't be getting a day above 40-50% humidity. I mean, it might rain. I doubt the inside of your house is going to see 50-60%. Mine's not. I'm having a hard time lately holding 45-50% humidity, and I have a humidifier in my house. You know what I mean? So, house humidifier, whatever. I got a leaky house.
That
so
AC.
I already pulled in my winter humidifier from the garage today, so I'm about to start running it. No, I haven't ran my AC in a long time. I've been on heat mode, no AC. It's like open windows season for me. But yeah, dude, when you run your AC, I mean, you're pulling humidity out of your house like crazy. Really, it's hard to keep it above 50-60% there too. So I really prefer curing in the summertime. It's a lot easier to just maintain. I hate running humidifiers. You're pulling water out of your wherever. I mean, I don't want to call it wasting water. It's a water cycle. You're not really wasting it, just going into the atmosphere. It's going to rain back down anyways. But I mean, or in that case, it's going to stay in that room and get homogenized in the cannabis and smoke.
Get that veg up to like 72% humidity and shit. Get it growing like some kind of tropical jungle in there.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, man. High humidity, like it rained tonight on my cannabis outside, and I'm happy about it. I was waiting for that rain. I want it to wash off because there's all kinds of different plants and bugs and animals. So there's some bird shit on some leaves and things like that I want washed off. There's some PM and stuff like that I want washed off. I want everything rinsed before these next nice few days. We can get everything harvested up.
Rapid fire question from Raptor Grow, which is best month in your opinion to make hash?
The winter time. What I'll do is I'll take my seasonal crops, and then I'll break it out in like January. It's super dry, and it's super cold. And I'll get out in the garage or somewhere.
Do you keep your freezer set at the coldest setting?
What's that?
Do you have a freezer specifically for holding stuff that you're going to process into hash?
Yeah. Depending on what it is.
Okay. Do you keep it at a super cold setting or just normal?
Freezer. No. The only experience that I have with that is I've used like my home freezer and like specifically Granddaddy. I was like, I'm gonna do a single source run of Granddaddy. It's gonna take me.
Love that shit.
I'm running 3 light of a multi-strain grow, right? I might see 1 or 2 plants of Granddaddy come around every so often. So like if I'm gonna have enough to do a bulk run of a single source strain, it's gonna take me a season, to run it. So right. I did that, and I'd toss a baggie in the freezer every couple of months or whenever I got it, and when I thought that I had enough baggies of Granddaddy, I went through and I ran it, and there's baggies in the freezer for that reason right now.
This GDP dry sift is fucking amazing. It is a knockout. It is a knockout. I see why you've kept it for so many years.
Yeah. It has sentimental value attached to it, but there's a medicinal value that I think overpowers that even.
I know your patients have
really do keep it around.
Yeah, definitely. It's not sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of that. There's no reason to. I'm growing. Actually, I have it in flower right now. I'm really excited.
Oh, right now.
Yeah. So there would definitely
just in time for Christmas, right?
Yeah, for Christmas for sure. Yeah, definitely for sure. Not for Thanksgiving, but it'll probably be ready in December sometime. I'm really excited about that. And Grape Glee and Rainbow Driver, just 3 strains, but
Red. I need to join a Rainbow Driver, man. I gotta get a big fucking honk like that just to definitely I want to wake and bake with this thing and just zone the fuck out for like an hour and a half.
I finally went back to wake and baking with it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, instead of the flow, went back to the Rainbow Driver. It was starting to boost anxiety a little bit.
The flow wasn't it?
Out.
Yeah.
This is actually the first joint that I smoked on the show was Rainbow Driver tonight.
Love that shit.
Yeah.
I was telling Red,
man, they're getting into like K2 and stuff like that in chat, man. The Spice Summer, the Summer Spice, dude, the all the fake. So we were talking about. You can get into that for a second. Ann Arbor. I shout out Ann Arbor again. It's been a couple of weeks now. They legal. I don't want to say they're going to have a bill that's going to make it so that possession of certain plant medicines, is not going to be punishable. Different plant entheogens, psilocybin mushrooms, maybe DMT containing ayahuasca, things like that. They're going to finalize it all here in the coming weeks. I'm not sure if ergot alkaloids are going to be attached to that, but hopefully so. And hopefully like mescaline and ergot alkaloids, because of the duration, it seems to be very,
to find a safe source.
Yeah. Each one has its own little thing. So anyways, there's a lot of analogs and derivatives of tryptamine containing substances, which are non-natural. Tryptamines, they're non-plant entheogens. They're chemical compounds that have safety profiles that are much different. And so what's recommended is obviously test everything. Any kind of a powder that could potentially have a life-threatening substance like fentanyl in it. You want to get a fentanyl test. You want to get.
What's that website?
Bunkpolice.com is a great one. Check out there. You can look for videos. Dance Safe does a lot of videos. I believe they work with Bunk Police. That's Bunk. Like this shit's Bunk. Bunk.
BUNK. Like bunk bed.
Yep. You can get test strips and all kinds of stuff directly from their website.
Educational.
Amazon may or may not have their products.
Who is educational channel?
Maybe they're just more expensive on Amazon. What's that? Go ahead.
Who is
man. I think I got you faded on my headphones.
Who is an educational channel that you get information from on YouTube?
Psyched Substance, man. And if you can catch some of his older videos, he talks a lot about like psyched in the head, like psyched substance.
That would be what would it be? PS?
PSYCHTD SCBSTANCE. His logo's Heathcliff the cat, blogger
right on
or something like that.
Yeah, old cartoon character dude from the 80s.
Yeah. And he's been doing he's actually been doing safety for a long time. Safety mitigation stuff like that for a really long time.
Narwhal is mentioning Willie Myko. Yeah, that's where I get a lot of information when it comes to
anybody field hunting.
Psilocybin.
If you're field hunting for a trip, I don't recommend field hunting for trips. I don't recommend unless you're a true mycologist and you really know how to identify. I have a horror story a few episodes back. Some stuff my cousin experienced, and of course, I experienced indirectly. But family trauma type stuff, poisonous mushroom deals and all that stuff. So anyways, all you field hunters out there, be very, very safe. All you mycologists, be very, very safe. Be cautious. And
it's scary.
If anything, just like cannabis, grow your own, or source your own, test it. So anyways, back to the spice and all that stuff, man. More research a lot of it is research chemicals, right? So what's going on is they're taking stuff that's illegal, changing a molecule and making it legal because, hey, this isn't on paper. It's no longer that. It's now this. So now it's legal. And then like as far as like the spice and shit like that goes, man, a lot of that is like oregano or whatever, sage or whatever type of a cheap sourced plant material that they can find. I mean, maybe they even pulled some weeds in their backyard and chopped them up, and dried them and chopped them up, and then they take a research chemical. In this case, I'm sure it's a powder that they buy from the black market and overseas, or I'm sure it's legally sourced through China or some shit like that, and they just ship it right over here, no problem, no questions asked. Sure, it gets right through customs with no issues. And I'm sure that this powder just gets dissolved into probably some water, and then they either spray it or soak it or whatever onto plant material. They're like, here's a bag of, they probably call it marijuana to some kids or some stupid shit like that, and it makes kids go into the hospital. And then when the mom's like, well, what the fuck is that? It's like, oh, I smoked some weed. And the mom's like, oh, see, this is what weed's doing to our kids. But same deal with like the same shit that's going on with like coke and fentanyl and things like that is kind of happening with the cannabis industry, but in an indirect way. It might not be happening so much in Michigan, because this is what happens when we start to decriminalize and we start to normalize and we start to make cannabis available on a legal recreational scale, is that we get rid of this hardcore heavy clandestine black market. And by that I mean some of these red states, people who have to endure drug tests and things like that, but still want to get the fix of smoking weed, and they hear that smoking K2 or something like that is just like weed. Maybe it is similar to weed, but as far as like what it does to your body is completely different, because there's no attention paid to the safety profile in this stuff when they're experimenting with creating it. They're looking for the effect, and what ends up coming off of the safety profile is completely different than the naturally derived,
see, that's the magic word,
entheogenic tryptamines, right? In cannabis, you don't really get high blood pressure, you don't really get vascular constriction. With psilocybin, you don't really get vascular constriction. Same with ergot alkaloids. But with a 2CI or with I don't know, 5-MeO DMT, whatever else,
letters and numbers,
whips up. You know what I mean? Just throw a whole slew of anti-tryptamine, whatever they are, at you, and they cause those things. They cause accelerated heart rate, holes in the brain, whatever.
Other kind of stuff around with it. I've always been more of the, if it grows natural, then I'm more likely to have tried it. So that would be more like psilocybin.
The bad part is that you see it as a plant, right? So you think it's something naturally grown. You're like, oh, this is a plant, but you don't think that it's been sprayed or whatever. Cigarettes. Cigarettes is like the best.
Well, there was a question in
paper
chat
sprayed with nicotine resin,
right? You know, from Narco Polo was asking me why the cigarettes and the beer, cannabis is legal in my country. What I would say to that is that I have used all three for 35 plus years, and I don't try to justify any of the three to anybody else. I happen to enjoy all three. I understand that two of the three may not be so beneficial for me. Maybe the third is a balancer. But we all make choices. I'll leave it with that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a big difference in all right, the whole taboo clandestine like outlook on everything. It can sort of be expected, because there's been a few chunks in history where like people have kind of gone off the rails of going out of their mind, right? You look back at the counterculture era, you had people like Timothy Leary trying to turn on the entire world, and he was a little out of his mind trying to do it, you know. Rather than, what should have happened was they should have exposed the underground. They should have exposed the underground geniuses at the time, right? The double helix of the DNA molecule being discovered, or anything else that kind of had to do with it. There was tons of genius work that was being performed under ergot alkaloids at the time, in the mid 1940s, 1950s, and things like that, prior to prohibition, prior to drug wars. Drug wars in general are all have always been socially fueled. They've been racially and socially fueled. They wanted to change.
It's an ulterior motive.
It was racism. They wanted to get rid of the hippie and any
British
counterculture,
and the Chinese
anything.
was fucking horrible.
Anything that had to do with
the
any kind of a
heroin
movement.
opium wars. Check out the opium wars. Ugh.
And the same deal back then. So, looking at and bridging it to cannabis, a lot of times people were on other things, but usually everybody's smoking cannabis to relax. So cannabis is the one that's seen. You don't see what people take in pill form or anything like that. And that continues today. Where like you could have somebody doing the nod and smoking a joint. Somebody thinks that they're doing the nod because they're smoking the joint, but they don't realize that they sniffed some heroin or something like that. So like there's this huge perception thing that gets kind of.
We want the machine elves, Red. That's what we want. The machine elves. We want the demons.
We're getting there, sort of.
Machine elves.
We're working towards there. We might go over time.
We're gonna go over time, folks. We're gonna get there.
I apologize.
We're gonna get there.
But that's that perception, right? So then they create these drug wars that put a blockage on.
Dude, drug wars. Let's talk about drug wars. Hold on.
Expansion. Now we're getting to where we.
I am old, and I am still working in the culinary arts industry, even though I have crushed vertebrae, my neck and my back. It's not because I dig it. It's because I need to make money. So drug wars says, old Skilbo will melt the bottom out of a fucking cup. And to be honest with you, I guarantee you that I am not alone in this. But people say, Skilbo, just fucking get some fake pee, man. That's all you got to do, get some fucking fake pee. So it's all fun and games until Skilbo fucking drops the bird in the hand for the great bird in the bush. And I get this rad ass job and something happens and I don't have the fake pee. So I have to go drop and then I lose my job. And then, old Skilbo's got a mortgage, got a nice house. I gotta fucking keep this motherfucker. It's got my, it's kind of sentimental to me. So I would rather work twice as hard at a shitty fucking job than I would roll the dice on some uncertainty. Maybe that's my age showing. I don't know. But I guarantee you that there is someone else working below their station tonight, along with several other people. And it's directly due to the drug war and the social stigma and all that other razzmatazz bullshit propaganda that 2020 seems so fucking rife with. So there's still 99 people chilling with us right now. I want to say cheers to you. We're coming up towards the edge of the show, but Red said we're going over. So I'm letting him do his thing.
We definitely can't end this now because I won't know where to pick this up next week. So I'm gonna have to.
Let us know what you think in the chat.
There's 100 people still watching and close to
98. We lost another one. They're like, yeah, fuck these dudes, man.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's
I gotta twist up a citral glue. If we're gonna go over, I gotta do it with fucking panache.
So this drug war is kind of what put all of us, I don't want to say in business, but kind of putting us into what we're doing. Because
why it's expensive.
Because cannabis has a high value. Okay, so now oh man, dude, I really hate thinking. It's so hard for me to think of like the red state outlook on the cannabis is still so taboo. Cannabis.
When's the last time you visited one?
You're still doing felony time.
My visited one state. It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, I mean, I know how
shout out
it's
to
been a while.
The
for me,
tokers and smokers in Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, totally down there. North Carolina, all you guys. So, the expansion of human consciousness in theory has kind of been going on. If you believe in evolution since the dawn of it, possibly. Definitely ritualistically throughout religion and I don't know, whatever holy sacraments that our cultures, I don't want to even say those cultures, our cultures, every single one of us has an ancestor that dates back to these cultures who have been ritualistically expanding and possibly even growing and growing our minds. Could potentially even be lots of for regeneration of cells, medicinally, using them medicinally for health benefit reasons, for whatever reason, they became illegal mid, I don't know, within the last few hundred years, not even that long ago, within the last few hundred years. And a lot of it had to do with um, certain rulers claiming claiming more dependence on other substances such as like tobacco and alcohol and things like that. So be it. So that kind of stuff took over, and then religion claimed over with those certain substances, and the other ones went to the side and became mad craving substances, right? You were a witch or something like that if you did other plant if you tripped on a cactus or something like that, you were probably a witch or something like that, right? So they demonized it very, very, very long ago for many, many reasons. But could it potentially be could it potentially be dawns and or foundations of not just humanity, but I'm gonna get into like a spirituality type of a sense here, because I mean, like I believe in Hermeticism pretty far back. It kind of predates religion. It's kind of the Hermetic texts are a list of pretty much rules and followings of pretty much how humanity kind of began, and it's almost where Christianity, it's where Hebrew, it's where all of the other religions almost formed from. The tablets of Thoth.
I knew Thoth was in this. I can vibe off of that, man. Check this out.
And it goes back to Egypt. It goes back to early Egypt.
It goes back much further than that. If you go back
if you
go back to cave paintings, look at cave paintings. Okay, so imagine this. There's no electrical switch in these caves, right? So they go way deep in these fucking caves. You can go to like the cave of Lascaux in France, or there are some in Germany, and they're all over the place. But if you start looking at these caves and you realize these people went way the fuck deep in there with a torch, and then they inscribed some crazy shit. It's like therianthropes, which is a fancy term for like half man, half animal shit. And a lot of people believe that that is very shamanistic. And that what probably had happened was that these people using whatever entheogens were local to their wherever they were living in their locale, that they probably went in there and tripped balls and fucking painted these crazy fucking things to try to elucidate or capture what they had experienced on the experience of these entheogens. So, like, look, I've pissed away a lot of fucking college money, guys. I took a lot of art history and shit, and it's pretty fucking cool when you start looking at all of the symbolism of the mushroom through the ages and all that other good stuff, the Eleusinian mysteries and whatnot.
Right.
And cannabosum goes way back to the whole fucking, Old Testament, and talking about making like the holy anointing oil. That's cannabis. There's a very clear link to what that is. It's cannabis, cinnamon, myrrh. You know what I mean? So like 9 pounds of cannabis to like a gallon to it was either a liter and a half or a gallon and a half of olive oil. So combine 9 pounds of cannabis with a gallon and a half or a liter and a half. I'm not certain. You'll have to Google that yourself, but considerable potency for this. So this is quite interesting to me. I was watching it this week.
Oh, this thing fired up. So
I hear you.
Yeah, I apologize about that. I'm trying to think of what last thing I was talking about was within like the Thoth tablets, or back in like prehistory or anything like that. There's a thought that, or I guess within that, okay, so within Hermeticism, okay, within that, it's not, I don't know if it's I don't even want to call it religion. It kind of predates religion, but anyways, there's principles, there's philosophies that go beyond it. One of them is mentalism. That's basically the first principle, is like everything that does exist is the mind. Everything that is manifested, everything is streamlined, and all is mind over matter, basically. things that you encounter, things you will into your life. If you want to think of the laws of attraction, The Secret, things like that, that's basically principle number one. It's all mine.
Welcome to the late sesh. The
yeah,
very
yeah,
late sesh.
We're getting deep. The second one, I mean, and I don't know them all like in order. I'm not full on practice, right? So alchemy is involved in this. Alchemy, and so going back very, very far, alchemy doesn't just have to do with gilding gold or
transmutation
things. Alchemy in this sense also has to do with connecting the spirit to the universe, or to the Gaia, the, I don't know, God or whatever, all of us as we are, but like basically using entheogenic plants, cannabis, and all of these others as a source or as a mechanism, as a telephone or something in order to contact that. So when people talk about doing DMT, back into DMT aliens, right? And I've never actually experienced this. Right? However, salvia, locally
salvia
growing salvia divinorum is can be sourced, grown, anything like that, and it used to be able to be found at certain head shops. I don't know if they actually, maybe they did schedule salvia. I'm not sure if they did or not, but it used to not be scheduled. It used to be available very easily at head shops. And same reason, I was working a job where I couldn't smoke cannabis because we got drug tested. So we were like, let's go smoke some salvia. Yeah. And we didn't, I thought it was going to be a cannabis type of a high. Yeah. I didn't realize it was going to be a genie sucking me back into the lamp type of a high. And that's exactly what, and I expect it was very similar to what you experience on maybe a low dose of DMT. This was, and I'm really glad that we weren't like driving around doing this stuff either. I'm really, really glad that we weren't doing that. We just kind of like tucked away in the garage, took a big rip, and then blasted off into DMT world, I suppose. Is probably where it was, but it was very, very strange. Melted away the whole experience. Listened to the lady talking to me. The strange thing is they talk about somebody talking to you in DMT land. Somebody was talking to me in salvia land just the same. This is many years ago, early 20s.
I want to say cheers and good morning to Wally Wookie, Wake and Baking in South Africa. Cheers. I hope you have a great day and start it off on the right foot and get high with Red Nye. Also, cheers to the other 98.
So maybe she's one of the aliens. Maybe she's one of those Gaia heads.
There it is, folks. Market 108 AM. The aliens have arrived.
And when we arrived as these things that we can't see, right? And we took on the form of humanity at some point. Maybe, I don't know. At some point we took on the form of humanity, but that is basically our connector. Maybe it all goes back to the technology that Egypt had and all that stuff. But I want us to go back to what somebody was talking about in chat there, because it has a lot to do with just being a sovereign human. Just like alcohol, firearms, all of that stuff is, we're talking about people being able to responsibly have thoughts, a possession of something that could potentially I don't even want to say have harm, because most plant entheogens really aren't harmful. But alcohol and firearms can be very harmful. Bleach can be harmful. Nails and a hammer can be harmful. Spray paint, a lot of things. I mean, there's things that you can purchase legally that you can get high off of, that kids and people get into car accidents and shit, being one of them. Legally, over the counter. I don't even want to say it, give anybody ideas. Dude, it's terrible. It's crazy. It's amazing. And that's all because there's a war on the safe, the safe ones that humans have been expanding consciousness on and connecting spiritually with potentially the manifester. Like, if we want to get through any like this darkness of this pandemic, and we feel like there's so much spirituality and uprising, like there's a lot of people that are like trying to connect and we have like chemical blockages. Literally, we're being dumbed down with media and all this other stuff. We should really be in tuning ourselves with nature. If you are a spiritual person, you know, get away from all of the electric shit. Ground yourself outside with Gaia. You know, it's a lot healthier. It's a lot easier to, maybe we can manifest this in a different light, right?
Just be fucking nice.
Aliens.
Just be nice.
Speak with the aliens. What is it?
Just be nice.
And be
smoke
nice and
smoke weed and realize that whatever you're stressing about, either you can do something about it, and that's what you're going to do after you put that joint out, or you're going to realize that shit's beyond you. And when you put that joint out, you're just going to have to accept it and still put your best foot forward and keep on keeping on. That's the key. What do you think, Red?
It's going to take me a good drag on that. I finally got that. This one actually didn't take too long to light up. Kicked it about just before midnight. So this was about a 10-minute roll-up job. Not too bad. I'm pretty proud of myself for that one.
Cheers, Aaron Townsend.
Cheers, everybody in chat, shouting it out. You know, and that goes back to the positivity of just the community, keeping it all together. Like, so we're all dealing with this together. Cannabis is still illegal. We're still fighting a drug. We're still fighting a war on sovereignty, you know, every single day. And so, like, that's why I'm going and helping my homie out, and I'm working for what would be considered by many a corporate cannabis company, and they are. You know what? It's caregiver ran, man. It's caregiver grown. It is so everything about it. It's caregiver sourced. They source from Mint and Canico. It's, I mean, they're going to be expanding and growing, and you know, I don't know how many extra facilities or how many additional provisioning centers they're going to have in the future, but I'm seeing many more. I'm seeing it going to be a big name. They've been in Forbes magazine, top of Metro Times.
Dude, the smoke was nice. Let's just stop right there. The smoke was nice.
I'm more than happy to affiliate, to involve my name under that type of a brand as a craft caregiver. Most people would do the Chad and the Brad and all of that stuff, but I know that deep down where all of this comes from, and it's all caregiver, it's all quality, it's all well grown. And so, like, you really have to like know before you can just put a judgment or anything like that on something. You have to know like truly where it's coming from, how it's being truly sourced, and things like that. And then it always goes back to like, does it really even matter in the end? Aren't we all still on the same plane of existence and still trying to just fight the truth? The true thing is like our sovereignty and just getting there. And I think that we all need to reconnect in a different way and get the fuck there, right? And so maybe we need to take off in a spaceship and get there.
Yeah, man. New standard on John R. Thank you, everyone.
Hazel Park.
So we have gone way over. And you know what? It's been a chill show. It does not even seem remotely close to being as long as it's been to me. Maybe it's because I'm high. What do you think, Brad?
Oh yeah, no, it feels good. I don't know what's chat feel more or less. I suppose. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working in my outdoor garden, getting everything all cleaned up. I'm gonna be getting a lot of stuff set here. I have to, like I said, I gotta get some new denims. I gotta get myself prepped up, man. I haven't actually worked in a job or anything for the better part of the decade, so
no surprise.
It's gonna be a good experience. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm gonna prep up for that tomorrow. I'm gonna slide in there on Wednesday and go start that out, and hopefully everything works out good, because I don't mind putting in some time doing that and helping them out.
Bred's gonna be buying some dungarees.
What's that?
I said Bred's gonna be buying some dungarees pretty soon.
I don't know, man. I'm a Levi's man. We're talking about it. No, yeah, no, I appreciate chat and everybody hanging over, man. I could still rattle on. I could keep rattling on. I don't know if I want to. I really appreciate that. But yeah, shout out to the whole movement and everything that's really going on. Take a look into like maps. Dude, what is the other? There's some good research right now that's going on out there. I don't know if I can shout out anything specifically, but
look into it. Eddie Bravo style, right?
yeah, Joe Rogan has a ton of people. Look up like people like Graham Hancock is a great guy to listen to talk about
he was just on Joe
community
Rogan last week.
And
yeah,
that was a great one because they actually do talk about entheogens and in the mind and history, and it goes back and how it goes back and stuff like that. So I dig it. Thank you, DOG, for still listening. Appreciate everybody still listening.
And cheers, Ontario grown buds.
Yeah, it's something to definitely pay attention to. I had a buddy, and he had mentioned, I wish that the VA or something like that had given him, shrooms or something like that. And,
the VA, bro. Sorry, folks. Anybody out there that's affiliated, I'm sorry, but fuck the VA, man.
I can relate to that, man. I was never in the Army or the Marines or anything, but I have a lot of friends and family. I was in high school during 9/11, and I have a lot of friends and family who've been recruited over the years. And I have a lot of friends and family who are no longer around due to both from being overseas and from just being here back at home. And like the stuff that happens back at home is really bad too. And it's all that mind thing, and a lot of it they can't cope, and unfortunately, in some scenarios it's drugs, some scenarios it's not. And so anyways, it's good to see that somebody's getting help and saying, it's sad, it's bad to see that it took so bad to see that it took a decade for them to get help and relief, but it's good to see that we're getting there. And hopefully with the passage of what's going on in Ann Arbor is going to be able to, like, you got issues with that, come down to Ann Arbor and try to find yourself a doctor who might be able to recommend something. Talk to your doctors first. Don't just go and grab a bag of mushrooms and blast off, man. Go talk to a doctor and see if that's first right for you, and see if they think that it will help. And I believe that they're even
and
up
recognize
north,
the power of microdosing too. Like, if we're just going to be like real about it, you, instead of having to worry about, having more than you can handle, you can just microdose this and use 0.2, 0.3, whatever it would be, it would be, you wouldn't feel it. You may feel a little bit better, but you would not feel.
Michael Pollan calls it a really, really good day.
There you go.
That's the effects that Michael Pollan recommends a microdose. He says that it's like a really, really good day. There are no noticeable effects other than maybe you just mentally, subconsciously go about your day without your normal bullshit. Now, like I said, talk to a doctor or something like that, because set in, it could be a bad day. If you get caught down a rabbit hole of bad shit, who knows how it could affect you. So definitely have somebody on standby that you could talk to or something like that. Somebody that knows, that you're maybe working that into your life, that you are able to talk to about that in case you do have a bad day. And definitely don't overdo it, because you could really have a bad day if that's the case. There's even doctors throughout the state that I've heard. One of our group members was talking about cluster headaches, somebody having cluster headaches. They spoke to a doctor in the northern part of the state, and they recommended psilocybin. So for clusters and things like that. And usually what I've heard is that it's a single higher dose of that will take care of the clusters for a couple of weeks up to a couple of months. And that goes with, I believe, afterglows and things like that for PTSD and things like that. But I don't want to get into any doctor advice with any of that stuff, because I'm not.
I feel you on PTSD, brother.
Okay. Yeah, and from what I understand, a lot of people are really having good reactions right now, and it's turning into life-saving medicine, just like cannabis. So I guess I'm all for it, being now that I'm in the area. Yeah. And I'm not opposed. I'm definitely not one of the people that are opposed to it. I think that just like holding people responsible to be able to have firearms, and holding people responsible to be able to have a truck full of a flammable liquid that could potentially put a crater in the earth, smoking a cigar or a cigarette, no problem. I think that we can be responsible sovereign citizens with all that stuff, and understand that the people that do possess that stuff can hopefully be just as responsible, and they're not like dosing and driving or worse. Just like
Don't
people
endanger
aren't
the people.
out like, well, let's take it responsibly, right? Let's think that like, well, yeah, it's available, right? But and so are firearms, but people aren't driving around shooting their firearms up in the air. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to see and tell. But I'll tell you what, if somebody was dosed, they're gonna be flying driving all over the place. Anyways, they're gonna be pretty noticeable just the same. So I mean, it's a huge like. There's definitely no drive. There's no leaving the couch, people. You know what I mean? Let alone driving down the block. So I don't know. It's a thing to where we just have to get over the fear and the anxiety of it all, because that's all we are. Is we're just people living in fear, and we just have to find a way to stay positive, right? That's really all I have to say. I really want to get through this whole drug war thing positively, because like cannabis and it's all tied together. It really is. I think that we all are people that should be able to just make our own decisions and choices responsibly. And of course, let's have the whatever laws to govern some bad choices, right? Let's have some laws to govern that stuff, and let's have some whatever law enforcers or whatever to make sure that there's not people out there killing people and shit like that. That's all good stuff. That's what all makes community and society. That's all good. And I think that we can be responsible inside of our homes and practice our alchemy and spirituality as we wish.
You got to support your background real quick. People think they see bunny ears. Let them know what they actually see. It's like a big snail.
On top of that snail.
It's a snail. The cannabis leaf on its back. The shell is all the way to the right, and there's some other trippy shit around.
Yeah, it's actually a cannabis garden, and he's cruising through the cannabis garden. He picked up a leaf on his back, and he's experiencing what you're. So what you're seeing is his experience right now.
Shit, hindsight. I don't want red for 2024. I want red 2020. The Yeah Man campaign. Oh, the campaign. Come on, I'll be your campaign manager. An alien in every story. That's our campaign. What do you think?
It's funny. It is a very funny. It's a funny bridge when you look at art. God, man, I've always loved humanities. I've always loved music and stuff. When you look at art, you look at like art from like India and stuff. Look at Paisley, man. If I had my old tapestry or a Paisley pattern or something like that. So I've been told, under a sufficient dose of a plant entheogen, you see the teardrop Paisley pattern. All of that stuff is very, very, they call it psychedelic in nature, but it's spiritual in nature. Like all that, those patterns, the mandala, all that stuff has a purpose. All that stuff has a reason. And it has a story to it too. And what's funny is it connects to the other side. It connects to not just the other side, not just to like divinity. It connects to like what the stories are, what you see under plant and theogenic thing. The whole mandala is it's a trip. It's the I don't want to get into what
Tibetan mandalas.
Yeah, it's like the what is it, the Tibetan Book of Death and the entire thing. But the mandala is it holds all of that, like the alchemy, the plant alchemy, the five, all the five theogenic whatevers, and it's all in there.
Dude, how can we top that? We can't top that.
I don't know if there's a channel or something that talks about it, but yeah, it goes into it. It kind of goes into it. So anyways, it's in there. There's a story in the mandala. And it's all about human subconsciousness.
Dude, wait. I have to read this to you. Raptor Gross says red segment should be called, quote, "You know what really spins my spaceship?"
I love it, Raptor. Thank you, man. That's great. Yeah. I dig it. This joint's not lighting at all. I rolled a loose joint over here.
Oh, fucking priceless, man.
Hilarious. So how many did we lose from that 99, Scobo?
I'm down to 83. We went to 83.
That's all right. It's after.
Some folks went to sleep, bro. They got to. Some folks are employed. Narco, I seen that you were in Germany. Shout out. I lived in Germany for 2 years myself. I used to live in the middle of the Black Forest in a town called Bitburg.
So I still think we physically came here from Mars. That was a spaceship.
That we were seated. Here it is, folks.
No, we were humans by that point. We had already become our human form at that point. We jumped. We made the jump. I'm not a believer that it was like. I don't think that it was monkeys. The monkeys are still here. I think that there would have been. I don't know. There's arguments on both sides. So either way, I still think that it was a consciousness leap that got us somewhere. That got us to Mars. It could have gotten us even on another planet in a different star, and then we got to Mars, and then we blew up Mars. We fucked it up, and then we got here, and then we're just gonna back and forth with Mars for a few more times throughout humanity. Maybe we'll eventually track Venus or pull another star once ours blows up. But that's where we'll go. Yeah, I think we're the aliens as much as anything else, and this probably going on a few other stars. There's probably the same situation, just continuously.
So does that just change the whole meaning of the whole concept of baby come back? Is it baby go back?
I don't know. You can't let me. You let me go, man. So I didn't have to come back. You let me blast off, and if you keep flying away, I can dig it.
You know what? We get the real fans left. Those late seshers.
Yeah,
I know they've been smoking along with us, and I just want to say cheers to you guys. Thanks for hanging out for the whole show. We're running right up on the edge here. I do want to get off the air, and I do want to toss you guys over to Eagle Gardens and talking shit with Eagle. I'm sure that he will be. He's either live now or will be momentarily.
Yeah, hopefully he's not waiting on us. Hopefully he.
That's why I was like, you know what, we gotta.
He has diehards. You guys are more than welcome to jump.
Exactly, because it's all growers love, man, and that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show, and I think I want to close on that point. Is everybody that's in the chat is an in real life person? You know what I mean? So cheers to you. I hope that you had a good day. I hope that you're able to smoke along with us, and I hope that this shit was entertaining for you. So. On that, I'm going to throw it to Red.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, hanging out. Started off semi-serious. We got through it, but yeah.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
everybody for taking out or hanging out, kicking out. At Red Setter Farm on Instagram. All things Michigan Bros Grow Show. Check out Eagle Garden Show. Fucking talking shit with Eagle Gardens. Check out Fumador and the Flavors, Embracing Organics. All the shows that we've been listening off all night. Shout out to the whole community, Groskies, everybody, all the community support. Shout out New Standard Cannabis. Really appreciate their involvement. Everything they're doing with the community, because they're doing big things. Also, really excited to try their outdoor, and I'm really excited to.
I know, man.
Just outdoor in general, man. I didn't even get into it, but we'll talk about it next week because it'll probably be a little bit more suiting. But it's already time to start planning for next season, which I love. It's like this season hasn't even rounded out yet. I already want to start getting next year's outdoor started up. So I want to talk about next year already this year because it's already time to start plotting the ground. And
what a great way to fucking
gotta get into it.
Next
week. We're gonna do that next week. And thanks everybody. I really appreciate you all hanging out. Rock and roll to you all.
Before we get off of here, I want to shout out our partner, Easy Swap Pots. Please go to easyswappots.com. I know you guys have heard us talk about them ad nauseum. So next time you need something, go check them out. Drop them a DM on Instagram. Other than that, come through Thursday morning at 6 a.m. for Wake and Bake with the Groskies, where it'll be Dan and Tara and Sequence and myself, 6 a.m. And come through for Frugal Force at what time, Red?
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Saturday nights.
Other than that, if you want to be more specific and you want to see the whole crew, always come through Sunday nights for the Night of Dank, where, you know, this has been a show about love and, you know, showing respect. So I want to show respect to the Sunday night block of cannabis programming that we kind of have between ourselves and Growing with My Fellow Growers, Cheap Home Grow channel. They come on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they run for 2 hours. And after you get off with that, jump over our way and check out the Bro Show live at 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, I am Skilbo One, and I hope that all of you guys have a great night.